Why, hello there. Welcome to stream. How y'all doing? How how nervous are you? I already saw somebody, Justin's like, if this is Warhammer, I'm fucking out. I'll see you guys Monday. How many of you guys think we're gonna get into some Warhammer? Just out of curiosity. What do you think's going on? Perez, thank you, man. Thanks for the gifted membership. Appreciate it. Put money on it that it's Warhammer? Well, look. No. I mean, the truth is, I'll sort of tease what it's all about anyway. The thing that I can't believe is this goddamn DC stuff. What's happening to the world? What's happening to me? What the hell? I've been watching, I watched another DC. I watched DC like yesterday. What the hell? So what I want to talk, there's actually a couple things I want to talk about. I want to talk about how DC might be taking over Marvel, and I can't fucking believe it. I want to talk about the Fantastic Four numbers, and I want to talk a little bit about a couple reviews that are out there. Some insiders have leaked out some stuff about Fantastic Four. Sounds really good, actually. We'll talk about it. There's some DCU scoops by Humberto Gonzalez about Wonder Woman, about Bane and Deathstroke. I can't believe it. I can't believe what's happening. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. And then also there's some videos and whatnot that I have scheduled that we could react to as well. But at 2 p.m. there is a Warhammer stream going on. So we might live react to the Warhammer stream at 2 p.m. Let's go. But it's like 2 hours away. It's like calm down. It's like 2 hours away. We'll do some regular shit, and then we'll get into the Warhammer. So just fucking relax, okay? Holy shit, you guys! Don't you want me to be happy? You know what's funny too? I'll tell you. So I have a good friend that I play Warhammer with quite a bit, right? So he randomly chimed into one of the streams the other day, and it was one where I was literally saying that shit to you guys, where I was like, "Don't you guys want me to be happy?" And he thought it was so funny because he was like, "Dude, chat is they're like literally like no, like we do not care about your well-being, Josh. Like entertain us, and he thought it was so funny. So, congratulations to you guys, I guess. You're so funny. Bro, did you see... This is a great gig, dude. Hey, we're living it. We're going through it together over here. Sorry, Davey84 says, bro, did you see Connor's dong stand your base? I don't know what any of that means. I did not see Connor's dong. It's crazy. Everybody's talking about it. I feel like I've totally missed out. I didn't get to see it. So does Reed secretly bargain with Galactus to take their planet instead of Franklin? He ends up regretting his decision. That would be kind of lit. I don't think so, though, bud. I like where your head's at, though. That's kind of an interesting take. Superman doing numbers in U.S. brand recovered. Superman's doing great. I mean, it has a really strong weekday box office this week. Today's going to be very telling. The Friday's a super big deal. The Saturday's going to be a super big deal. The next 3 days are going to be very telling for Superman. Some people speculating around a 50% drop. Some people think it could be as low as 40, which would be fucking incredible if it could stick at a 40% drop off. But yeah, Superman's doing pretty good. I still actually believe that Superman and Fantastic Four are actually going to operate pretty similarly, and Fantastic Four will leg out just a little bit more, but we'll get into that. I do want to say though that it's been an interesting week, and it's been an interesting couple of weeks ever since seeing Superman last Tuesday, and making content, doing a whole bunch of streams, and just hanging out in the community. It's been pretty wild, you know. Even this morning, there was some discussion on our Discord, and you could kind of tell some of the Marvel fans are getting a little sick of these DC fans, man. Some of our hardcore Marvel fans are getting a little sick of these DCU fans and how they're strutting about right now, which is funny. I mean, it's all interesting to me. It's all part of the story, and I'm just here for it, man. I'm along for the ride, but it has certainly been interesting. Yeah, can't we all just get along? Clearly not. Have you been in the Discord? DC needed a win. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I love DC, man. I love DC. I love the characters. There's been a lot of times throughout my life where I've been more engaged with DC, right? Like just as a brand or whatever. And I obviously love Batman. There's been so many cool things that happen in DC Comics, and I think DC really does deserve to have a lot more of its stories told. I think DC deserves to have its sort of spotlight, and I also think, I mean, I think Marvel has clearly fucked up. You know, and that's another part of this discussion as well, is like we're at a time right now where Marvel has clearly fucked up. And I think a lot of Marvel fans, including myself, you know, over the past couple of years, it's been a little crazy to sort of go through all of this. And yet we're still excited about a lot of stuff in the future. And so we tend to, you know, it's so over, we're so back. Like that cycle just continues and continues and continues. So it is certainly a really interesting time. I think Superman is doing some really important stuff. I mean, we're gonna see how this weekend goes, guys. But I'm having all sorts of crazy thoughts, man. I'm having all sorts of crazy thoughts. It feels like it's such a crazy time for the comic books and for the comic book scene. So interesting time for sure. After Daredevil, that was it. Daredevil hurt for sure. Ethical Prod says, what would you want to see Joss Whedon do for Gunn? Ah, man, that's an interesting question. You know, so there's some reports out there, although it's not confirmed. There are some reports that Gunn is potentially working with Joss Whedon and potentially working with Jeff Johns again, which is kind of interesting, right? You know, a couple of dudes with some drama, some checkered past, some stuff that happened, but also really, really talented dudes. You know, those guys have actually helped Marvel out quite a bit, especially in those early days. And I believe Joss Whedon, he ghost wrote on a lot of Marvel projects, would just come in and help workshop scenes and dialogue and stuff like that. So these are people that are really talented, and I wonder because, like, you know, Gunn obviously has this sort of built-in thing because he got fired from Disney. You know, he has this sort of built-in thing of being a little rogue, and I wonder if, like, I don't know, like I can almost see it being a thing where it's like all of the forgotten geniuses that the world turned on, they get together and create. And maybe there's rehabilitation there for their image as well. Like maybe people would be like, you know, I don't like what Joss Whedon did with some of the things he said about Women, but this is entertaining. I don't know. I guess you never know. But I know they're talented dudes, man. So I don't know. How would you guys feel? How would you guys feel if Joss Whedon was announced right now, dead ass? If James Gunn came out and announced a Joss Whedon project. Now, I don't know that we're going to go that far. Maybe it's angry. Pass. Yeah, maybe they'll just have him come in and like Ghost Rider, do some stuff like that. But, you know, I got to be honest. I wouldn't hate it. He's abusive. So here's the thing. I don't even remember a lot of the stuff that sort of surrounded him or whatever, but I think, like, I can't speak to any exact, like, what one person said or this person or that person, but I do remember that there was a lot of stuff at the time that I was like, yeah, I don't know, man. You know, I don't know if that's that big of a deal. But, yeah, I guess I'm not that educated on it. See, like, I think this is one of those things, and I could be totally wrong about this, but I think this is one of those things that's, like, revisionist history. Like, I feel like a ton of people are like, oh, man, he's, like, the worst person ever. And the reality is he's probably just kind of like a mean Hollywood guy that was like, shut up to some people. You know? Gal said he was inappropriate. That's true. Gal did say he was inappropriate. I kind of remember that. I sort of vaguely remember that. Yeah. He owes Ray an apology. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I would agree with that. That whole situation is pretty sticky, huh? It's a shame that it got so messy because it's like fans are so caught up in all of that kind of stuff. I think just based off of talent alone, I think those guys are actually talented. The scene with Ezra falling. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, probably not the move. Probably not the move. I don't really care though. But probably not the move, let's be honest, yeah. What are we talking about? Joss Whedon and Jeff Jones. Yeah, again, I don't know. I don't know, man. I really don't know. I can already tell though, just by bringing it up and how all of you are reacting, probably not a good idea. You know what I mean? Like, maybe if Warner Brothers catches wind of this, maybe take a second look at that, you know? Because it just seems like people are not ready to let it go. Yeah. But to be fair, I'm not saying that for me. I don't know, and I don't care. How much we think Justice League? How do we know how much of Justice League he removed? Oh, I have no idea, man. I mean, I'm sure there's ways to figure it out, but yeah, I have no idea. Russo brothers, after they beef with Marvel again? Oh, damn. Oh, damn. DC priority is finding the next Matt Reeves. Interesting. Yeah, maybe. Why do you need the next Matt Reeves? Because this one's not going to do it? The actual, like, Matt Reeves is like, nah, fuck that. Is that what it is? Next topic, please. Oh, Jesus Christ. Here we go. Joss created Buffy and made the Avengers. He's a good filmmaker, and people think he's that because of a few people and names. Yeah, see, that's what I mean. It's like, I don't really know. I'm sure there's probably people that believe both sides of that. But you know what? I mean, like, look, to be fair, like, Gunn has a lot of stuff that surrounds him as well. And Superman's still doing pretty good, so it kind of seems like maybe there's a way to sort of face all that and it doesn't matter as much. Like, maybe you let the art speak for itself a little bit more, although it's questionable how much of that he actually did. But, yeah, I don't know. Joss Whedon wrote the first Toy Story. What? No way. Did he really? That's crazy. I know he did a lot of writing. I've heard he did, like, a lot of, like, ghostwriting and came and punched stuff up for Marvel. Big part of their success, for sure. All right, can we talk a little bit about why and how DC might be taking over Marvel? Before we get into this, are you guys like, let's do this. Let's go to the polls on this. Here's what I want to know. What side are you on? And we'll go Team Marvel, Team DC. I want both teams to have fun. I just want to see. Let's let this simmer for a bit. I want to see where you guys are at with this, because it actually has been really interesting to me to watch all of the DC versus Marvel sentiment in our community, I know there have been people for a long time that have kind of like just liked both of Marvel and DC. Um, eh, eh. So I totally get that, but I have been a little surprised at how much Marvel DC sentiment there still is. How's the Superman box office stuff doing? It's doing well, actually. It's doing pretty good. Not like crazy like, oh my god, smash hit, but I think really good for what it needs to be. Always liked both and always will. I've always liked both too. There have been a lot of times in my life I've sort of leaned one direction or the other. When I was really young, it was actually more DC, like just like Batman more, Superman more, and the Lanterns. I love the Lanterns, always have. And then I don't know, like around the time of like maybe early 2010, 2011, 2012, I really was more of a Marvel guy. The New 52 for me was like, just couldn't really get on board, you know. But yeah, it was a big Marvel guy from there. I've also loved different periods and stories from Marvel in the past. So I've kind of ebbed and flowed, but I would say basically since the creation of the MCU, I think Marvel has certainly dominated my personal like fan experience, and I would argue has probably dominated, you know, DC in conversation, social media stuff. Just that's kind of the way I see it. I don't know. What do you guys think? So look at this. It's kind of interesting, man. So, you know, not like necessarily scientific here, but 24% say Team Marvel, 18% say Team DC. The vast majority of people that have voted so far are at 58% that they want both teams to have fun. I find that to be kind of interesting. That's cool. Well, let me now tell you a tale of what I think is going on and why I can't fucking believe it, okay? So, throughout my entire life of being a nerd, Marvel and DC has always been in somewhat competition. I mean, the studios themselves, or I guess you would say the companies themselves, because they technically weren't studios until like the late 80s and into when Marvel gets purchased. But they've always had competition. They've always stolen each other ideas. Like, there's all kinds of examples, like Deathstroke, Deadpool, which technically I believe Deathstroke came first. Check me on that, chat, but I'm pretty sure that Deathstroke came first. But there's Doctor Strange, Doctor Fate, all sorts of similarities between the characters. Marvel referred to DC as distinguished competition for a long time, right? So, like, throughout my whole life, just being engaged with these different fandoms, it's always kind of been a thing. But, you know, it's always been a bit like Pepsi and Coke. And that is to say, DC has always been behind. I know DC fans, some don't like to acknowledge that. And there's some purists out there that just believe DC is just totally, purely better. And they sort of take this stance that, like, Marvel is less serious, more mass appeal. DC's the serious stuff. It's the more sophisticated stuff. That's the stuff for the true comic book aficionados, right? Like, for example, Jim Lee, who's a guy that's worked a lot at both companies, you know, he now big-time DC guy. And he says stuff like, I heard him say one time that, like, well, the people at DC kind of don't really consider you to have a pedigree unless you've worked with DC, unless you've worked in this company and stuff. So it's just kind of interesting, right? It's always been a thing, but by the numbers, Marvel's always been bigger. And in fact, for most of my life, Marvel's been way bigger, like something like 4-1 in the way that they sell comics, in the way that they sell movies. Now, strange, you know, it's kind of, the movie thing is a relatively new thing. DC movies, actually, if you just looked at the total, like before Marvel, DC had made way more money in their movies, actually. Marvel had never really had anything kick off until like Blade, X-Men and stuff into the late 90s. But of course, you have all the Reeves movies. You've got old Batman movies. Like, DC kind of lived more in film than Marvel did. And yet Marvel, by comic book sales, by almost any other metric, would consistently beat DC. Now, there have been a few times in the past where DC has been a little bit more poppin' than Marvel, let's say. They'll sometimes poach each other's talent. Like, it's a long, storied history of these two companies and where they sit in pop culture, okay? However, something is happening right now that I kind of can't deny, and I also kind of can't believe. And that is that DC is making some serious ground on Marvel in multiple arenas, and it is rather shocking. So I want to talk about this because it is not as though DC has clearly taken over Marvel. And there's a lot of caveats as we go through this conversation about like the comic books, the TV shows, the movies, etc. Marvel is still technically by volume selling more comics than DC. However, DC has certain initiatives that are selling better than Marvel ones, and you could make an argument that this is maybe closer than the two companies have been in sales in like 30 or 40 years. Okay? And I think there's a couple of things that could happen in the next couple of years that might actually solidify DC beating Marvel for the first time in my life, honestly. And so I want to explain what's going on. Now, part of this has to do with the comics. And, you know, we've talked about this over the past 6 to 9 months in various situations. I believe 2 or 3 months ago, we brought up the fact that the Absolute imprint, which is a sort of reboot of DC characters, very similar to the Ultimate Universe from Marvel Comics, the Absolute Universe at DC is outselling the Ultimates universe for Marvel. They're both selling well, and Marvel is still technically selling more books each month than DC, and I think Marvel holds something like high 30s or low 40s of the overall market cap of comics in general, and DC holds about like 22%. Okay? So, you know, with all kinds of caveats here, this is something that's kind of interesting. We talked about this before. DC is also getting a lot more talent. Like, talent seems to be more interested in doing long runs at DC. Part of that might have to do with payment. Marvel Comics has come under fire a lot over the past couple of years for a lot of different things. Like, there was a guy that just recently quit doing Marvel books because they give zero royalties on international or worldwide sales. Rob Liefeld is obviously pretty biffed at what's going on with Marvel and Kevin Feige. He's retired. He's no longer going to do Marvel books. And you've sort of seen this pattern here where DC seems to actually be treating their comic book talent a lot better. And the All-In initiative, interestingly enough, felt a bit different than the Ultimates line, because the Ultimates line was like somebody else's idea that Hickman comes in and helps, and then they adjust it. And, you know, don't get me wrong, it's really cool, and there's some great stuff going on there. But All In was specifically named because it felt like the entire company was literally all in on this initiative. And it's not only worked, but it's leading into another big event. DC has just announced an event called DCKO, which is going to, I mean, it sounds crazy. It's a multiversal sort of tournament of power thing that they're building, where they're going to have all kinds of different versions of these heroes, including the all-in heroes, right? So DC, you know, making some moves on the comic book front. Part of that, I think, absolutely is because of James Gunn, okay? And a couple of years ago when Gunn gets the job, one of the things he was, like, really adamant about was involving DC talent and not being shy about the books that they are going to adapt in the DCU. So, you know, he announces the Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. They announced the Authority book, and that one's I'm a little salty about that, because I was one of the people that went out and bought Authority graphic novels after the announcement, and now I'm like, where the fuck's the movie? But point is, you saw a bunch of sales for those books directly jump up. And at the time, like, people were like, wow, this is really cool. Like, he's really pushing the sales of these books. And instead of, like, kind of shying away from the comic book connection, he seems to be leaning into it. And that feels good. It feels good for the creators. It feels good for everybody involved. Marvel, and this is probably more of a Disney thing than, like, a Kevin Feige thing, but Marvel and Disney do kind of feel like they're playing it really weird with this whole situation. It's not every creator. Obviously, the guy that created the Sentry seems to have had an incredible relationship with them, with the movie. He was consulted, all this sort of stuff. Charles Soule seems to have had an incredible time with the Daredevil stuff. So it's not like across the board, but there does seem to be some issues happening with Disney and Marvel in the way that they're treating creators. And it probably has led to a hollowing out of the talent over there, you know? And it's just as simple as, if you treat the creators better, if you incentivize the creators to have better, maybe royalties or at least representation for the films and the TV shows, you're going to get better talent. You know what I mean? Like, this is just a natural thing. So in some ways, you know, Gunn, by doing that and by setting that precedence, has helped a sort of pivot in the culture of DC, which has seemed to coalesce with stuff that Scott Snyder's trying to do. And, you know, look, I got a lot of love for Scott Snyder. And I think through what he has done with the Ultimate line, he's doing some heavy lifting, not just for DC Comics, but for comics overall, man. Like, it just really does seem like comics are getting a nice bump and a breath of fresh air because of the All In and because of what Scott Snyder's doing. On top of that, you know, Gunn has been inviting all of these writers out to the set. He's been asking them to give advice. He has actual comic book writers in his writers' rooms for some of the shows and the movies and sort of like his parliament over at DC Studios. And that has obviously helped. You're seeing a cohesion. You're seeing like something actually happen that you got to give credit. It seems to be working in that sense, right? And that's just on the comic book front, okay? On top of that, I mean, I think Superman, you would have to admit, and Superman is kind of a fascinating film to cover, because despite, I think, it doing very well, maybe not like crushing in the way that you might have expected a couple of years ago, but doing well. I mean, these numbers are good, and I think they're surprising a lot of folks, and we'll see how the second weekend goes. But despite that, there's like a lot of like kind of pushback to this movie. You got all kinds of people that don't like it, a lot of vocal folks, you know, talking about what they don't like. There's the Snyder folks that don't like it. Almost all of the anti-woke people seem to not like it. They're not saying it's woke per se, but they're just saying it's bad and very James Gunn, which is kind of interesting. So although you have this very strong sort of counter narrative to Superman, I think the numbers kind of speak for themselves. I think it's making a cultural impact, and I think people are very excited about it. You know, something else I just recently heard about this that I found fascinating is on HBO Max, viewership of Man of Steel went up 200% since Superman. Okay, so think about that. You know, like, we have a lot of Snyder fans, you know, and there's a lot of like infighting here about what that whole thing means and the Snyder stuff versus the Gunn stuff and all of that. But I think if you take a step back from the fan discussion, you look at a number like that, Man of Steel's viewership up 200% since the release of Superman. Fascinating, man. And for me personally, I know I've been watching a lot more DC stuff. And in fact, I'll ask you guys in the chat, have you watched a lot more DC stuff since watching Superman? Maybe you went back and watched some of the Zack stuff. Maybe you watched some of the animated stuff, which that's what I've been doing. Throw a 1 into the chat if you have. I've been on a real kick, man. I watched the what's the one? The Batman Doom. I watched a couple episodes of the old Justice League show with the Jon Stewart Green Lanterns, the Guardians, the Manhunters, and all that sort of stuff. I watched the Judas Contract. I'm gonna watch the Superman versus the Elite. I'm on a real fucking DC kick right now, and I think some of that data, you know, the Man of Steel thing, I think they're probably seeing that across the board. And a lot of ones in the chat right now, a lot of folks on the same page, right? So that's kind of interesting, man. DC's getting a real lift right now. And, you know, even people that don't necessarily love this movie but like the portrayal of Superman are finding a reason to be interested in and engage with the DC brand. That's a big fucking deal. And I mean, it's just so obvious that hasn't happened with a lot of these other movies. Like, I highly doubt that happened with Black Adam. Like, that didn't happen with Shazam 2. Like, I don't think Aquaman and the whatever the fuck this, you know what I'm saying? Like, that has not happened. Okay? You got to give credit where credit is due. I think this is a moment. I think they're catching a wave. I think people are starting to give a fuck about DC, right? And it's also kind of wild that that this is happening at a time when the comics are truly taking off. Like, I personally don't remember a time when DC and Marvel were closer in comic book sales. And look, here's the other side of this. Let's take a second and discuss this. The reality is Marvel did this to themselves mostly. I'm going to say something this is kind of a hot take, man. But I actually think if it weren't for the MCU over the past couple of years, I think Superman would be making even more money right now. Okay? That's a little uncomfortable, but I think it's true. I'll repeat that. You don't have to believe it. But I'm telling you, man, I think if it weren't for the MCU over the past couple of years, I think even Superman's making more money right now than it is. So it's a tough one. I know we have a lot of Marvel fans in this community. I love Marvel Studios. I love Marvel characters. But we got to kind of face some harsh realities here. Like, for a lot of us, we're still kind of in this and we're really irritated. But it's worth acknowledging just how far the fatigue has gone, how much people are sort of checked out on Marvel. Maybe it's only natural and maybe it's actually good that DC would come into this moment with an alternative that's actually like really good and kind of connecting with people in a way that Marvel isn't. Because ultimately, competition is good for us, the consumer. Might not be good for Marvel right now, and it might feel like a little bit of a kick in the nuts. And I mean, we'll see. We're about to talk about Fantastic Four. The numbers are wild. They're all over the place, of course. And we'll talk about it. But if Fantastic Four comes in under Superman, which I think is a possibility, it is worth acknowledging that I think the Marvel brand itself just kind of cooked itself over the past couple of years. And people are looking for an alternative. And ironically, DC being an alternative to Marvel might actually be really good for Marvel, as opposed to, like, you know, Warhammer, anime, video game stuff. It might actually be good for Marvel to kind of keep it in the family a little bit, keep it close to comics, keep it close to, you know, those kind of things. And then Marvel has a chance to rebuild, readjust, and come with something new and different. That's how this works, right? That's the sort of history of Marvel and DC. And I think ultimately it has served the industry well, right? So it's a little bit that Marvel is just so overexposed. There's something fresh about DC. There's something new. It's fun, and it doesn't have, like, the baggage. Ultimately, the way we view a lot of these upcoming Marvel projects, I think we kind of know what to expect. The DC universe has this freshness. We're not sure what it all means. We're not sure where it's going. And I think that's all serving it in this moment. So we're going to see, because right now, let me just tell you this, okay? Here's where I want to kind of bring it home. I've never actually seen DC beat Marvel. Like, in a few instances, in a couple examples, sure. But I've never seen DC actually overcome Marvel. That's never happened in my lifetime. I think it could actually happen. We are on the cusp of that actually being a reality. I don't think it's going to happen like this year, maybe not next year or whatever. But if the DCU continues to build, if DC can get their video games figured out, because Marvel is absolutely crushing them in video games right now. DC needs a couple of really good video games. They need to continue to do good shows and good movies. They need to continue the good comics. Bro. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I'm saying it is closer than it has ever been in my fucking life. And I cannot believe this is happening. Holy shit. All right. Thoughts, questions, concerns? What do you think? Am I crazy? You think it's going to happen? I need more than one decent Superman to really say that. Well, are you reading the All-In comics at all, Justin? So you're telling me there's a chance. I think there's a chance, man. I think there's a chance, yeah. DC needs to step it up with the video games with canon too. Yeah, I agree. you know, it seems like a lot of this stuff with Gunn and the DCU is just kind of starting slow. Maybe that's okay ultimately, but they're way behind in video games. Way behind. Give me Lanterns, then we talk. Yeah, Lanterns is going to be a big deal for this whole thing, for sure. Absolute Universe is great. Dude, I need to catch up. I need to catch up on the Absolute Universe. Oh, my God. Hang on here. Hang on here. Okay. A Superman game in the Arkham Knight would be lit. Oh, in that style? That would be nuts, dude. Yeah, that'd be really crazy. Because I'm supposed to be a Venom game by now, at least announced. A Venom game? What do you mean? Like a Marvel? DC animated movies, always way better than Marvel animated movies. Dude, their catalog of animated films is strong. It's strong. It's fucking strong! Yes, a Green Lantern video game would go hard. Green Lantern video game would be tough, man. I mean, I guess you'd have to just have pretty basic... You know who should do a Green Lantern game? Oh, dude. You know what the best Green Lantern game would be? If you had Larian Studios make a Green Lantern game with the care that they made Baldur's Gate 3, except all the spells and basically all the interactions are constructs. So just like skill tree after skill tree, like I'm talking like go fucking deep, dude. Like you need crazy skill trees, all sorts of abilities and all sorts of ways to, oh man. Oh man. Hell yeah. That would be sick. Yes. Yes. Tears of the Kingdom like gameplay for Green Lantern game. That would be fun too. Real actiony. Who do you want to be cast as Wonder Woman? I don't really know, man. I mean, there was a report out there that they want a TV star. I know a lot of people want the gal from Andor, and she seems cool. Like, I'd be fine with that. I'm not good at casting, to be honest. Bro, Fantastic Four soon. How you feel about the length? Should we talk Fantastic Four? Do we want to address this DC stuff a little bit more? I got some notes. I got Fantastic Four stuff to talk about. Don't worry. Don't worry. Don't you worry. The hell's this bullshit, man? Don't you worry. I just thought you'd want to complain a little bit more about DC and Marvel before we got into the Fantastic Four stuff. Move on? No! Oh, I move on. Fantastic Four screening? Yep, we're going to move on in just a second. Don't you worry. Green Lantern video game. Yeah, dude. I love the Lanterns. I'm really excited. Hey, by the way, I know a lot of you guys already know this, but we made a 22-minute video, dropped it earlier today, breaks down the entire timeline of the DCU. It is a fucking banger, dude. Okay? You know, can't believe it, but we made an absolute fucking banger. Whole bunch of cool stuff in that video. A lot of detail, a lot of Easter eggs, a lot of info. Go check it out. Overbound says, been watching Smallville myself. Don't sleep on Superman and Lois if you need a family show to watch. Oh, dude, we love Superman and Lois. Probably finish it. I haven't finished it yet, but probably finish it. Good video. Thanks, man. Agree. Already watched it. Hell yeah. Appreciate it. That video was really good. Thanks, man. Yeah, no. I wish I had more time to just... I'd like making really detailed, in-depth videos like that, you know? But, man, this attention economy, man, it's like they don't let you just cook, you know? But we cooked on that one. It's a pretty good vid. Superman and Lois ending gonna make you cry. I actually have seen some of the clips from the ending. 18 months? I gotta check my recurring subscriptions. Just kidding, man. Much love. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you. Thank you. I saw that 130 prediction for F4 opening. but it comes from Box Office Theory. Personally, I'm waiting for the report from Luis Fernando, or is it Fernandez? No Revenge for Life, take my money. Yeah, I actually have some thoughts on that. It's a little bit more complicated than that, but you are correct. There's just a little bit more to it, but I'll explain. How old do you want your X-Men team to be starting after Secret Wars? I mean, the indication we're getting is kind of like mid-20s. I'm comfortable with that. Did you see live-action adaptation of Justice League Doom? Wait, what? Oh, love to see it. Okay, I thought you were dropping a scoop there, man. You better watch out. You better watch it when I'm in autograph mode, you know? All right, what are we doing here? What are we looking at here? What are we doing here? Hang on a second here. Okay, would you guys just frickin' hang on a second here? Okay, any more thoughts on how DC's taken over Marvel? We'll get into the Fantastic Four. Am I going to watch Peacemaker? Absolutely not. This stream gives me purpose. There you go, bud. Happy to provide. When's the Warhammer event? 2 p.m. 2 p.m. About an hour and 20 minutes. Release the Warhammer list? What does that mean? Damn, Josh. Very underrated Ricky Bobby reference. Appreciate you. Thank you. I see, too, that you're a man of culture. I think F-Force Galactus will dominate internet and rival Superman. Hey, it might. If Fantastic Four somehow shits down Superman's throat, you think I'm going to be shy about it? Hell nah. I'm going to be excited as fuck. Just not sure it's going to happen. We'll see. Why are you not watching Peacemaker? Oh, man, I can't stand it. I can't stand Peacemaker. Hate it. But I'd like to know what happens, so you can tell me what happens after you watch it. Peacemaker is actually good, though. It could be the best thing ever. It could be the key to immortality. I'd rather die. It really all comes down to translation of the screen. As much as Marvel seems fantastical, it's played well. DC at this point has been more corny. True. Not a bad point. We're going to see how they adjust moving forward, you know? Josh, don't you think Feige will step up his game after this? I think Feige is already stepping up his game, but I think there's just been so much damage. And I also think he refused to cancel these projects, which is really silly. By the way, I got to tell you, if Fantastic Four really underperforms, I'm going to have to be a little bitch about it just for a couple of days, because for 2 years, I've been saying Marvel should cancel some of their projects. And for 2 years, I've been fucking vilified, made to seem like some kind of grifter. I've been like a lot of people in the fandom are so fucking mad. They can't believe I said it, this, that, second, and the third. If we have arrived at a place that I was really afraid we'd arrive at, I tried to light the beacons of Gondor. You guys are crazy. So we're going to see what happens. Either way, I think we're still going to be okay. They delayed everything, man. The next movie's over a year away after Fantastic Four. But holy shit, I tried to tell you guys for years, man. They should have canceled a lot of these projects. It's way too much. Way too much. So we'll see. We'll see. Okay, let's talk Fantastic Four, man. Let us discuss the Fantastic Four. Obviously, Superman is about to have its second weekend, and then Superman's third weekend is about to be interrupted by the Fantastic Four. And, of course, I have a $500 bet with Brandon Davis of which movie will make more money, right? So the rules are total worldwide box office after its complete run, okay? But because of how front-loaded these movies are, the opening is like a really important thing. Week 2, really important for Superman. Opening, really important for Fantastic Four and moving forward. So here's something interesting that happened yesterday. Hollywood Handle has this via deadline. The Fantastic Four First Steps ticket pre-sales are ahead of all other Marvel films released this year, but 20% behind Superman. And this was my reaction here. Yeah. When I saw this, I was like, oh my God, dude, that's not great. I don't know how to feel about that. Okay. And then just a few hours later, I saw this. Matt Shagman's Fantastic Four First Steps is headed for around 24 million in Thursday preview and 130 million plus opening weekend. This would make the Fantastic Four the biggest opening for a comic book film since Deadpool and Wolverine. Okay, now, here's the deal. This is coming from Box Office Theory. Now, as Chillin pointed out earlier, it's hard to trust Box Office Theory because they were just so wrong about Superman. However, I'm the kind of dude that has read the report they posted on their forum that went all over Reddit that explained exactly why the guy thinks he was wrong and how he's adjusting his formula for the Fantastic Four. Okay? Now, at the end of the day, this kind of amounts to this guy saying, yeah, I think here's how I fucked it up. This is why I'm not going to do it moving forward. And he's claiming to be able to get it a lot more correct with this film. Okay? And all I can say is this. I think, to be fair, it's tough because you just got Superman way wrong. Totally understand what you're saying now, and I think you're probably more accurate. However, the reality is, with both of these films, all the numbers are all over the place, man. Just earlier this week, fucking IMDb added like a random $55 million to the Superman worldwide box office, and everybody ran with that number. It's like, it's just been such a wild roller coaster ride of emotions here. And that's all just to say that, like, I did see what the guy posted with regard to Box Office Theory. I'm not just going to throw them out because they got this one wrong. However, they haven't been super accurate as of late, but frankly, a lot of folks haven't been accurate. Okay, now going back to this number here. Interestingly, when I saw this number come out for the Fantastic Four, I saw some people in the industry scoff at this number and imply that this number was lowballed on purpose. Okay? And I'm not going to say that anybody directly told me this because that's not true, but I did have some people kind of indicate to me that it could very well be the case that this movie was lowballed intentionally. Now, why would this happen? Why would this happen? Why would this happen via the Hollywood trades? Well, Superman had the unfortunate circumstance of having really wildly big numbers come out early, and therefore a lot of the narrative moving forward was that it was underperforming. Okay? So I think what you could have seen here via Deadline was a way to set up a bunch of potentially great headlines for the Fantastic Four next weekend and really Monday after that weekend, when it exceeds these expectations and operates even better than Superman, right? Because, I mean, how much better could your headline be than this? Fantastic Four smashes expectations coming in ahead of Superman. That's the headline. That's what I think they're trying to cook up. And maybe it's a little bit conspiratorial, but also watch this shit, man, because I'm telling you, that shit might happen, okay? So what do I think now, based on all of these numbers, based on the roller coaster ride of emotions that we've had, based on what happened with Superman? What do I think's going on? I think Fantastic Four is going to operate basically at the level of Superman. Slightly higher is my personal prediction. I could see it operating slightly less. As I've been saying for weeks and weeks and weeks, I think the big difference is the legs. Okay, Reed Richards, big stretchy legs. David Cornsweet, big third leg. You know what I mean? Not the same thing. The stretchy legs are going to matter here because we've seen a lot of movies just chunk a lot of money in those last 4, 5, 6 week box office. The competition for Fantastic Four is just so much lower than the competition for Superman. So that's still the story that I see here. However, I got to say this. I still think, and I'm still holding on to the hope that this movie overperforms wildly. Now, to be fair, I don't really see a lot of necessarily data that supports this. Like, I don't know. I don't necessarily see a lot that support this. This has more to do with my personal feelings about the movie. I think it looks really good, guys. I think it looks better than Superman. And I love the Superman movie. I think this movie looks really, really good, and I think it's really activating a lot of folks out there. So if the walk-up business for Fantastic Four is just unbelievably strong, you could actually see this thing beat Superman, have a really big opening weekend. That would be absolutely incredible, okay? Now, there's one other thing I want to touch on here with regards to all of this, because some people, just like with Superman, we have had some people out there that have seen the movie, and, just like we did with Superman, I think it's worth looking at this stuff here. Okay, so the first one we're going to talk about is Robert Meyer Burnett here. Robert Meyer Burnett, goddamn, I can't speak today, says, so my buddy in distribution saw Fantastic Four today. Loved it. The film is completely self-contained in its own universe. The opening 10 minutes will leave comic readers with a huge smile on their faces. All the casts were great, and he reluctantly admitted Pedro is Reed. That's kind of a big deal. A lot of people still kind of hung up on Reed. I've been slowly won over by a lot of the trailers. I think this is a very positive sign here, indication that it's going to go really well. Now, I also want to bring this up because viewer Anon, who is another one of these scoopers and insiders that we spoke about when talking about the Superman screenings, he says here, so I followed up on this and heard back from a couple of people who've also seen the final cut of the Fantastic Four, and yeah, heard pretty much the same thing as Robert Meyer Burnett. Everyone seems to really like it, notably even those that aren't big comic fans. Now, along with this, there are some other insiders indicating that Fantastic Four was one of the most publicly screened films Marvel has done in some time, and they did tool it a lot. They did workshop it quite a bit, okay? This likely speaks to that one screening that was in Long Beach. Remember we talked about this? This was when I was going to New York. They had a random screening in Long Beach, and they normally don't do that, so it threw a lot of people off. That was an assembly cut, but it was a cut that had basically it was all in the order they wanted it to be, and they used that to even further fine-tune the film, and this was just a couple of weeks ago. So Marvel has done a lot of fine-tuning here. And it seems like that's probably why John Malkovich was cut from the film. They wanted it to be really clean, really sharp, like just go, 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 incredible pacing and a really fun payoff. So here's the thing. From Jump Street, Fantastic Four felt like it operated differently than a lot of other Marvel movies. I know this because I follow this thing for a job. I follow all these movies for years. It's my fucking job. Okay? Wildly different than what we heard with a lot of other Marvel movies. Thunderbolts had this thing where, like, the buzz on it was out of control. And I love Thunderbolts. I think it's incredible. Some of you guys don't like it. That's fine. Fantastic Four was a movie that shot clean, ended early, did a bunch of work. And then we started to hear, like, some stories of, like, oh, people like it, but there's some issues here. People like it, but there's some issues here. It kind of seems like the reason we heard about all of that stuff is because Marvel was screening, adjusting. And what they have arrived on here seems to be a crowd pleaser. It seems to be perfect spectacle. So there's a part of me that still believes that Fantastic Four could crush and could do way better than Superman. The big reason why is if you look at Deadpool and Wolverine, and then if you look at Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, there's actual proof and evidence that a huge potential audience lies in wait for Marvel movies still. Those are bigger than any DC movie since Batman v Superman. So Marvel still has people that remember Endgame, remember Deadpool, Wolverine, remember all this fun stuff. And if Fantastic Four comes out and makes an impression that leads to, like, word of mouth reaching that wide audience, and those people are like, oh, you got to see this one, it's a really good one, you could see that really activate people, and you could see the box office be pretty good. So personally, I'm kind of expecting, right around Superman numbers, but there's a small part of me that's hoping we crush this motherfucker. Because, dude, I'd love it. I'd love it if we get back to that flavor of Marvel just absolutely crushing it and people being like, yo, Fantastic Four is dope as fuck. And it would be great for the brand as well, right? Like a turnaround point. They have a long break either way. but it would be kind of nice if people really appreciated and really enjoyed the Fantastic Four. There's also a scenario, though, because we got to be real. I know some of you are probably typing it in chat right now. Think about Thunderbolts. Thunderbolts, incredible movie, very well received, high scores, both critically and audience-wise. Didn't matter. The fatigue was still real. Didn't matter. Didn't activate people. You would think the Fantastic Four, Galactus, Silver Surfer, Franklin Richards, these are bigger names, more activating. But it is absolutely fair to look at Marvel and just be like, hey, I don't know. I don't know if this will activate, but there's a chance that it activates a huge, huge potential group. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. And it is a fascinating time, man. We're going to know in the next couple of weeks, we're going to know, is the genre kind of cooked, right? Because of Superman and Fantastic Four are kind of like between 500 and 600. We could say like, wow, the genre is like kind of cooked a little bit. If both of those movies get like to 7, 8, or 9, wow, we're totally fine. If Superman outperforms Fantastic Four, wow, maybe Marvel's in trouble. There's a lot of narratives that are going to be formed in the next couple of weeks. So I'm excited about it. Those are my sort of final thoughts. And then next week, we'll learn because we'll know about the reviews. If the reviews are great, you probably see a bump in the numbers. We'll get some short-range projections next week. We'll go over it all like we always do. But that's what we know as far as today, guys. So there you go. There you go, chat. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts, guys? When am I watching it? I'm going to watch it on Thursday night. Let me catch up on some chats here. You tested your radon levels? I know your ass didn't do it 2 years ago. Long live Marvel. DC ain't taking over guns. Appreciate you, brother. Yeah. No, I haven't checked the radon levels. Devin Wells says, Marvel hit panic mode if Doomsday happens and somehow it's meh. Age of Ultron treatment, only way I see DC overtaking them completely. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, a lot will be determined next year as well. Yeah, that's absolutely a good point. We'll see. That would be panic mode for sure. They still got X-Men, though. You know, they still got X-Men. Let's see here. Wasn't finished typing the member chat. Smack my head. Disregard the second half. Okay. Aaliyah says, Superman might earn more domestically, yet I think F4 will earn more globally due to international earnings. The end global box office counts more. Read the bet. That is true. That is true. And we shall see. Fair point, though. Let's see here. Dr. Cool says, super excited to watch Johnny Storm sniff some chrome crack. Oh, hell yeah. Floss Angeles says, F4 should have kicked off Multiverse Saga with No Way Home and MOM being Civil War and the first Avengers level scripts. Yeah, I understand that. I get where your head's at. I mean, look, there's a chance, like, if DC really starts to take off, right? And Marvel really feels like it's lost its way, bro, they need something drastic. But that's good. Like, it would be good to recognize that and then go drastic. I mean, I kind of feel like that's what the RDJ Doom thing is, but maybe not. I mean, maybe they need like a true new visionary to come in and be like kind of like what they did with Hickman and the X-Men. They cancel all the X-Men stuff. And then we have the Krakoa era, right? Like a consolidated, focused look at a new era. Maybe that's what it takes for Marvel. Like, maybe Marvel truly needs wildly different shit. You know what I mean? We'll see. That's just, I mean, Marvel and DC have a long history of this happening, so we'll see. The Exodus says, is anyone activated by Shalabow? Disappointed. Oh, dude, I'm pretty activated by it. I'm pretty activated. I like the way the light comes off of her shiny curves. Too much milk. Welcome to the Nerd Vengers. You are a Nerd Venger now. Appreciate you, brother. Emo Joe says, holy, didn't realize I cracked 4 years already. 4 years badge in the works. Sent an idea in the Discord DMs. Much love, Unity. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much, man. I'll check that out later. Look, on a side note here too, guys, we've had some banger streams this week. You know what I mean? Like, I feel really good about the content this week. However, it is really draining. I'm having a lot of trouble juggling putting a lot of energy into the streams while also keeping the videos going on the main channel. So I'm tired. I'm fucking tired today. You know what I mean? And we're gonna have a good stream. You know, we're gonna go for at least another hour, maybe two. But then, sheesh, I'm gonna need a little bit of a break this weekend. I might be taking some more streams off next week. I think I'm probably gonna have to. But that's only so that I can get some shit figured out so that we don't have to keep taking streams off. Like, I'd like to get, because I'm onboarding some new editors, but it's a process that takes extra long when you're trying to figure that out. So yeah, I think next week it's Fantastic Four week, right? So it's going to be a big week. I probably shouldn't take too many days off. However, I need to, something's got to give. I have to figure out a way to continue to be able to do banger streams, come up with cool ideas, have a good show with you guys. But I also need to make some really good videos too. So we'll figure it out. But I appreciate the support this week. A lot of kind words about the streams, and people are excited that like the streams feel really good again. So I'm glad. Just bear with me a little bit, man. Just bear with me a little bit because I'm trying to figure this out. And the goal is to have it sustainable and have a good system in place. You know what I mean? And also, on a side note, I'm going to go buy some Warhammer today. I told myself, because I was like, I kind of had a headache. Dude, I got a little sick. Like, I was shaking last night. Like, you know, not like I was shaking all night, but like I had like that fever shake shit for a little bit. And I was like, oh my God, bro. So it's been a long week. I'm exhausted. And I told myself today, I was like, if you have a good stream, like just get in there, get a good stream, give them one more good stream. And then I'm going to go buy some Warhammer to reward myself. So Keanu Reeves for editor or bust. What the fuck? That doesn't make any sense. He just wants more Warhammer time. Hey, you don't say that. What you buying? I'm not sure, actually. I'm not sure. Maybe the new Dark Angel random ones that everybody hates. I'll buy all those or something. And then I'm thinking about maybe getting some. There's a couple like stealthy like scout units for some Space Marines, maybe. Nothing crazy. Nothing crazy. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. I don't have anything to play Warhammer on. Can you suggest some way to know the lore or story? Any book or something? Yeah, I mean, dude, there's a lot of books out there. I think the best way to start is either the Eisenhorn series or the Horus Heresy series. But there's also, like, so many good YouTubers out there that cover the lore. A lot of cool stuff, man. So, yeah, just seek and ye shall find. That's my advice. All right, let me get this last bit of news here pulled up. And then there's, like, some videos and shit I want to watch. So let's get this pulled up. Let's get this pulled up here. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Oh, you know what, too? We got to talk about Taika Waititi, Judge Dredd. I can't fucking believe it, but we got to talk about that shit. We got to. Okay. All right, let's get into this a little bit. So, obviously, with Superman coming out, the DCU being built, we've been talking a lot about what are their next moves, what are different people saying, etc., etc. Couple of interesting bits here I wanted to bring up. According to Humberto Gonzalez, the role of Wonder Woman is reportedly being looked at for a TV-centric resume, akin to Supergirl's Millie Alcock. Man, that's kind of interesting. I think this sort of speaks to how television has really gotten into the zeitgeist in a way that movies have kind of like slipped up a little bit. Television seems like it's just, especially like really big television, it seems really, really strong. I think this is actually why Guy Ritchie steps away from Roadhouse, and he's just doing his shows, right? So he's got his his two really popular shows. He just wants to stick in with that. So that's kind of interesting. It just shows you a little bit of like how the industry's changing. At the same time, who could this be? You know what I mean? Like, who could this be? Oh, Gunn just debunked this report. Look, no offense, but that doesn't actually mean anything just because Gunn has debunked a lot of stuff that has ended up being real, right? I would imagine if Gunn, I don't know what Gunn said exactly, but I would imagine he's like, we're not just looking at TV-centric people. Fair. But, I mean, I still think this is probably real. Regardless, who could this be? Who should it be? I don't really know. I mean, a lot of people think Bix, Andrea Arjona here as Wonder Woman. I could see it. I don't mind this pick. I think that could be good. I'm not great at these casting things. I don't really like watch a lot of these shows and things that some of y'all be watching. But regardless, really interesting. This would indicate that they're going after it with Wonder Woman, which was something that was in the Hollywood Trade article we went over yesterday. They're fast-tracking a Wonder Woman movie. Is this now the biggest role in Hollywood right now? Is this the biggest role in Hollywood right now? I think this could be, if not the biggest, this is one of the biggest gigs in Hollywood right now, considering the rise of DC, you know, the buzz that's going on for that right now. The fact that they're fast tracking this film, so basically like all the agents, everybody in Hollywood is probably hearing about this right now. This is probably the talk of the town, man. This is probably what most agents are focused on right now, what most viable clients or talent is focusing on right now. Kind of interesting. Now, I believe Jeff Snyder said he thinks it'll be an unknown. Okay, I'm pretty sure last night on the Hot Mic podcast, Jeff said he thinks it's going to be an unknown. Now, that tracks. That makes a lot of sense. Corrin Sweat's not exactly an unknown, but I mean, he's fairly unknown. And Brosnahan, not necessarily completely unknown, but fairly unknown. That's why they get paid less than Nicholas Hoult in the very movie, right? So, you know, this could be the calculus of, number one, you want the actor to shine through, the performance to shine through, not the baggage, not the history, not the other roles that they've had. We were just talking about the Zelda casting yesterday. And Zelda is taking an approach similar to Star Wars, or at least the way that Star Wars used to, which is more unknown. And that seems to be the approach here with Wonder Woman, if Jeff is correct. If not, maybe they grab up somebody like Andrea. You know, obviously, I think Andor did very well, so people know about her. But I don't know if they know about her enough that it would like come with some baggage and whatnot. So, yeah, kind of interesting here. Maybe unknown is the way to go there, yeah. But here's another thing that's really interesting here. Matthew Orton has reportedly turned in the script for the Bane and Deathstroke movie. What? Now, here's the thing. I think we heard about this technically a year ago, maybe more. It was rumored, okay? And at the time, I was kind of against it. At the time, you know, Sony was doing its thing, and I'm just like, dude, have we not learned? Like, I don't think this is a good move, et cetera, et cetera. Like, this is lame. Don't do what Sony's doing, okay? Now, having seen Superman, I'm a little bit more open to this. Okay, because I think a movie like this or a show like this, right? Because is it a movie? Yeah, it's a movie. Okay, a movie like this could fill a space or a gap that I think Superman has. Superman's very like fluffy. Superman is sort of focused on him. There's not a lot of other elements and sides of this world that are explored. There's so much we don't know. Through these two characters, you open the door to all kinds of other connections and characters Deathstroke, fascinating connections to Ra's al Ghul, to League of Assassins, to many other characters throughout DC's whole space. And then, of course, Bane, most famously, is connected to Batman. This movie could be the solution to Gunn's Batman problem. And by the way, there's this really interesting video that's going around right now on social media. I think it's a TikTok or a Tiki-Talkie. I'm not sure, whatever the kids call it. There's a video that's kind of going viral right now. And this guy is suggesting that the way they handle Batman in the DCU would be to keep him a mysterious background figure. Something akin to what they did in Creature Commandos. Now, I didn't watch Creature Commandos, but from what I understand, Batman is kind of like barely in it, and you just see a silhouette. You don't really see him at all. Okay? We get the feeling that Robert Pattinson's Batman has to pop off before the DCU Batman pops off, and that's either way. Whether Pattinson joins or not, kind of seems like Matt Reeves' Part 2, isolated, its own thing. Maybe they can connect it, maybe not. But if they can't connect that universe to DC, but they still want to have some Batman flavor and sort of build the mystery of the DCU Batman within the canon, I actually think that could work. And you could actually, like, imagine this. What if they do the thing that Sony never did? Anybody know what I'm talking about? Do you have any idea what I could be referring to here? What if they did what Sony never did? What if this movie is a Bane and Deathstroke movie and the antagonist of the film is the Batman? And you don't even have to flesh him out. You don't have to reveal a lot about him. You just have to have him be an antagonizing force against these two characters in a narrative. Okay? So, I don't know that that's what they are going to do, but I definitely know that after seeing Superman, I'm more open to this possibility. And considering the issues they have with Batman and maybe what's going on with Pattinson, again, it seems like the Wonder Woman thing, like, you know, we just talked about that, but the Wonder Woman thing is being fast-tracked, I think in part because Gunn doesn't have a Batman right now, and he can't do Batman without shitting on Matt's thing, you know. So, maybe this is the solution. Maybe this is a way to take a problem and turn it into a benefit, right? So all of a sudden, the lack of DC Batman becomes an ongoing bit that they play into, and they continue to tease out this thing until eventually revealing him. That could work. That could actually work. And it could mean that when we do finally get to Batman, we are just so damn interested to figure out who he is, what he knows, what he has been through. And we have some teases, some hints, some setup via this film, maybe even Clayface. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. Maybe I'm getting too sweaty. But I'm seeing some potential here, man. And also, I just fucking love Deathstroke. Like, Deathstroke is such a good character. Slade Wilson is the fucking man. Oh, my God, do we need Deathstroke to get his shine. So, bro, I don't love going from Supergirl into Clayface, okay? But if all of a sudden we got Wonder Woman, maybe, Bane, and Deathstroke, and then we get into maybe some World's Finest Justice League, Batman stuff, bro, they could be cooking. They could be cooking with this shit. So what do you think? Kalen says horror Batman would be insane. Book Richson, he's an imposing figure. He is an imposing figure. And that would be cool to cut that silhouette, to make it like that, right? For sure. We'll see what they do. Oprah Cankle, what the fuck? Says, look up Deathstroke v Batman cinematic. It's unreal. Oh, yeah. I think I know what you're talking about. It was for like a battle report or a battle channel that does like versus stuff. I think I've seen it. It's pretty crazy. Oh, what do you think? I don't think so, because the Batman would make a lot of money. What? Battinson just needs to level up, bro. Yeah, I mean, that could work too. I don't want more Gunn, but I want his Superman cut. What does that mean? What? Did you see Robert Meyer Burnett's tweet about the FF? Yeah, didn't we just go over it in the last segment? I brought it up. His friend in distribution. Adam, what the hell? Is this thing on? Sheesh. Kid was screaming. What about Warhammer? That's pretty good. That's pretty solid. What did Rob say? Oh, wait, what? We literally just went over this, guys. He was just saying that he had a friend in distribution that saw the Fantastic Four movie and that it was very, very good and that people really like it. So, there you go. Is Ion and Jess and Chris in the new Fantastic Four? Who knows? Maybe. I'll give you a solid maybe. I got a solid maybe on that one for sure. Also, what the hell is this? What is happening here? Why does it do things like that? Would you rather F4 make as much money, have people like it as Superman, or the money but people like it less? I guess I would rather that people like it, to be honest. Why not both, though? Why not both? Okay, can we talk about Taika Waititi for just a minute here? Those F4 reports say there are 2 post-credit scenes. Oh, really? Isn't that interesting? 2 post-credit scenes, you say? Isn't that kind of interesting? Taika Waititi, what's he doing? Oh, wait till you hear this shit, man. Wait till you hear this shit, man. Taika Waititi. I can't believe this is real, but check this out. So, according to the Hollywood Reporter, Taika Waititi is tackling Judge Dredd movie in hot package, hitting Hollywood. Exclusive. So, I guess let's read a little bit of this and let's speculate here. Taika Waititi tackling Judge Dredd movie, hot package hitting Hollywood. The 2 named studio heads and executives sitting up this week. Oh, let me adjust this so you guys can see it a little bit better. Hang on now. Those 2 names have studio heads and executives sitting up this week as one of the hottest packages of the year hits Hollywood marketplace. Waititi, Before Love and Ragnarok and JoJo, notice they don't say Love and Thunder, filmmaker, is attached to direct a new feature film take on Dredd, the popular and violent British comic book character. Drew Pearce, the scribe known for his action-filled resume, Fall Guy, Mission Impossible, Rogue Nation, is attached to write the script. Producers include Dredd rights holders Chris Kingsley, Jason Kingsley, and Ben Smith of Rebellion Developments, Roy Lee of Vertigo Entertainment, Jeremy Platt, Natalie Viscuso, and Pierce. By the way, Natalie Viscuso is the partner of Henry Cavill and his producing partner on Warhammer. Kind of interesting. Sources say Pierce and Waititi both grew up with the books and are friends who have been trying to find a project to work together for years. Created in the late 1970s, writer John Wagner and artist Carlos Esquerra, Dredd debuted in the pages of Weekly British Anthology 2000 AD. Now, you know what's interesting about this, guys? We just talked about Dredd the other day in the 2000 AD stuff because somebody asked me about Warhammer and Unity, my comic. And what I said was there's a lot of similarities between Warhammer and Unity, but it's actually because both projects take a lot of inspiration from the old 2000 AD Judge Dredd comics, which were dope as hell. And there was a big movie made with Carl Urban. What was it, 2012 or something like that? Dredd, that people enjoyed. I personally still prefer the old Stallone movie. But here's the deal. This is a sort of let's save my career kind of move from Taika Waititi. Taika, very popular, very talented, but holy shit, did he fumble the fucking bag with Love and Thunder. And then on top of that, the whole situation with Star Wars, and not just the fact that they couldn't get it together, but the fact that after Love and Thunder, so many Star Wars fans were like, dude, get him the fuck away from that shit, has been really bad for his career, okay? Somehow, some way, Taika has found a way to get attached with talented folks to another franchise, a beloved IP, and every single person I saw talking about this yesterday, basically every single one, absolutely fucking hates it and thinks it is the worst idea ever, and it is absolutely terrible. But here's the thing. I actually feel differently. I actually think this is a good fit. And the reason why is because I cannot imagine that being a fan of those books, Taika is going to create slapstick, fart joke, Love and Thunder version of Dredd. No. I actually think that Taika views this as not only a way to sort of save his career, but to rebrand himself. Taika's very good. Yes, he has weird sensibilities. He's a goofball. He's like a child in a lot of ways. But he's also a pretty good visual storyteller. A lot of his work is resonant. So I think you got a guy in a desperate situation, a chip on his shoulder that needs a massive win. He needs a massive win. I'm going to be following this very closely because, number one, obviously, I love Dredd. It's a big, big deal to me. Very, very influential on Unity. And also, dude, I just like an underdog story. I like an underdog story. I'm telling you right now, I think he's going to cook here, man. I think he's going to cook, and I think this could be his way to get back into the good graces of a lot of different fans. And you could maybe see him go on to do even bigger and better things after this. So that's sort of my take. But what do you guys think? Do you think like, hell nah, there ain't no way? What do you think? If Taika takes it seriously and puts his ego aside, he could do a good job. Yeah, I agree with that. Should go dark humor, Taika? Yeah, he has some good dark humor. Yeah. Who would be Taika's Dredd? Ooh, really hard to say. I don't really know. Don't really know. That's an important question, though. I think he understands the assignment. Yeah, if he's a longtime fan of the franchise, there's no way he thinks he's going to do... Like, I think you're looking at a bit of a James Gunn Superman situation here, where Gunn dialed his own sensibilities back. He understood that he couldn't touch the Superman character with those types of jokes. There's some of it that's around Superman, but Superman itself was kept sacred and kept what it was, right? So I kind of feel like that could be what Taika's trying to do here, too. Less high stakes, but still, for Taika, I think the stakes are incredibly high. Who's writing it? That's the important question. Yeah, so the guy that's writing it is he's a pretty good writer. He's written Fall Guy, which was a great movie, and he wrote Mission Impossible Rogue Nation, which I thought was pretty fun. So he's pretty good. Pretty good. Brandon Skelena as Dredd. Hey, maybe. Maybe. $1 billion guaranteed. I mean, I don't know about all that, but yeah. Oh, somebody says Ben Affleck. Ooh, that could be fun. Ben Affleck, Dredd. Woo! That could be cool. Tom Cruise as Dredd. Damn, that would be crazy. That would be pretty wild. I don't know, man. I don't know. Fall Guy is a great movie. Fall Guy is incredible. Took me a long time to see it. It was one of those movies that they kept on digital at like $20 for like way too long. But eventually we checked it out. It's incredible, man. John Bernthal Dredd. Oh my God. Now you're cooking. Now you're cooking. Mel Gibson is Dredd. I could actually see that. Yeah. Clint Eastwood as Dredd. I mean, maybe you might need some stunt doubles there, but yeah. Oh, dude, Henry Cavill? No, I don't think so. Actually, Cavill's got to do Warhammer. Although his wife is producing it, that's kind of interesting. Arnold Schwarzenegger? I don't know, man. I think he's a little too. I think he's a little too retired. Ryan Gosling, John Cena. Believe it or not, Cena could actually be an incredible Dredd. And I don't love Cena in everything, but I think Cena could actually be a really good Dredd. Can we get F4 Butro music? The Den of Nerd Syllables with F4 music? What? I don't understand that. You mean outro music? Cavill is married? He's either married or he's partnered. I mean, they have a kid together. I think they're married. I don't know. Pedro Pascal? Pedro's pretty much going to be everything, huh? We can't escape the Pedro, huh? She. Yes, I'm Cavill's wife. Oh, okay, what up? Conor McGregor. No. We're good. We're good on that. Isn't Peacemaker a derivative of Dredd? There's probably some Dredd flavor there, yeah. Oh, like a choir. Fantastic Four. Like something like that. Next topic. Jesus fucking Christ. Tom Jane would be good. Yeah, that'd be cool. Peter Cullen. What the hell? I hope people do a 180 on Pedro as Reed. Man, he could be good. I think so too. We'll see. The proof's going to be in the pudding. The proof's going to be in the Pedro. You know what I mean? We'll find out together. Patrick Schwarzenegger? Maybe. I could see that. I could see that, man. I think this would be a big win for Taika. I hope, man. You know, I hope he's up for the task. I hope he understands the moment. And I hope he makes something really good, dude. Like, I think Dredd is in an interesting place too, because like a lot of people like the Irving film. Not me. I mean, I like it. I shouldn't say I don't like it, but everybody's like, "Oh my god, it's the fucking best." No, dude. If you've read those comics, like, not good enough. But you know, fun. But that's not Dredd, dude. You know, we need comic Dredd, dude. We need the iconography. We need the order. We need the judges. We need the trials. Like, dude, you need more of the lore. That would be good. That'd be real chill. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So let's see. Is there any other crazy news out there? We got the DC scoops. We talked Fantastic Four. We talked the numbers. We talked Marvel getting taken over by DC. I can't even fucking believe it. 30 minutes to Warhammer, baby. 30 minutes to Warhammer. 30 minutes to Warhammer. Hey, do you guys like Warhammer? What if we watched a video about Warhammer before we watched the Warhammer thing? Have you guys ever heard of Warhammer? Do you know how cool it is and stuff? Let's just try this, you know? Maybe you guys will like it.
Is a big deal. Gone are the days of our hobby being confined to magazines you'd hide even harder than your dirty mags. Warhammer is everywhere and it's more relevant than ever.
Hell
In fact,
yeah.
I've spent the last month of my life scouring the internet for every reference to Warhammer of all flavors.
Hell
Make sure you
yeah.
subscribe to the channel and comment which one's your favorite as I show you every reference to Warhammer in all media ever.
Hey,
Whoa.
celebrate? How about we play a little old school double dribble?
Okay, but no stupid-ass shots from the corner, because that's a glitch in the software.
Game on!
Paladins, a game that definitely isn't a cheap ripoff of Overwatch made by a company that exclusively makes
I never played this game. Did anybody play Paladins?
knockoffs of popular games, has a few references to Warhammer. The character Atlas takes a lot of design inspiration from Space Marines, particularly his shoulder and backpack. When the character Terminus scores a kill streak, he says, "Kill, maim, burn!" which is Khan the Betrayer's saying.
Khan the
character
Betrayer.
Khan is said to be the protector of the Ruby Throne, which echoes the Golden Throne. And when using this skin for the character Victor, he takes a page out of the Borderlands playbooks of unfunny and unsubtle references and says,
"In the grim darkness of the grimdark, there is only grim darkness."
Holy shit, Paladins totally ripped off Warhammer. What the fuck?
Dark. In Warcraft 3, a game that came installed on my workplace computer for some reason and got me through 3 years of reception work, if you click on the Griffin Rider enough, he will say, "This Warhammer cost 40,000.
What? Warhammer 3? Or Warcraft 3 has Warhammer reference? Oh my god, I can't believe it.
Last of Us. You can find B-Tech Warhammer miniatures sprawled around different house environments.
What? The
Metroid
Last
Prime
of Us?
3
Wait a
Corruption.
minute. The Last of Us has Warhammer stuff in it? I can't believe. Everybody must love it.
And contains a reference to a conflict called the Horus Rebellion, obviously a reference to the Horus Heresy. The only footage of this I can find is an ultra blurry YouTube short that I'll have linked with my other references in the description. In Sid Meier's Civilization, the least enjoyable way to spend 6 hours of gaming, the Beyond Earth spin-off contains a faction called Purity Affinity, which takes a lot of design inspiration from the Imperium of Man.
Makes sense.
I'm including this one because a lot of people on the internet have called it a reference, so it's here for the sake of definitiveness. But I really don't see it personally. These strike me as a lot more Halo than Warhammer. In Heroes of the Storm, perhaps the most enjoyable way to spend 6 hours of gaming, Cal Fast references Khorne and the World Eaters by saying,
"Blood for the Blood Elves, Sun for the Sun King."
Hey, that's Warhammer.
in Mass Effect 3, there's a Tauran leader called the Primarch. I'm including this one
What? I don't remember that. There's a Primarch in Mass Effect. Dude, Warhammer, it's everywhere. I can't believe it.
because enough people have soyjacked this one online, but Primarch does just sort of mean leader, so you can't definitively call this one a reference.
No, I can't.
But Mass Effect has made it into my other 2 videos in this series, and the word is so irreversibly attached to Warhammer at this point, and it is likely a nod. In Azure Lane, a game where you collect hypersexualized, anthropomorphized lady versions of real-life battleships,
This is one Justin plays, so I'm surprised he didn't know about this.
and was somehow only rated 12 on the Play Store until like 2 months ago. This game was a rabbit hole. There's a loading screen which recreates this very iconic Horus Heresy artwork.
Justin, your favorite game is recreating famous Warhammer art.
Weird.
Violence in movies and sex on TV.
South Park has a very well-known episode loosely revolving around the kids playing Warhammer. It's a pretty painful watch, to be honest. The Warhammer stuff is very ham-fisted, and the Andrew Tate stuff is agonizingly unfunny. It's definitely worth watching just to see the characters play Warhammer. But considering this is the same show that did Make Love Not Warcraft and Cock Magic, some of the greatest works of parody ever made, the Warhammer episode just doesn't compare. At the very least, this episode was actually foreshadowed much earlier when Token is shown having a Ravenwing poster in his bedroom, which is the army that he plays in the Warhammer episode.
Nice.
So that's pretty cool at least. In the animated spy comedy Archer, we got our very first reference to Warhammer Fantasy. When Archer's forced to hang out with the loser Cyril and do nerdy shit, he plays Warhammer Fantasy against some kids. Specifically, the show name drops that he's playing Beastmen against Chaos Dwarfs.
What? That's awesome.
My tactics were flawless, and yet my forces lie decimated.
Because you left your beastman exposed to his chaos dwarf.
I love this one because
Oh shit, let's go Warhammer!
it's so much more niche than just hey look Space Marines. In the greatest British media of all time, and it's insane how not even close it is, Peep Show, whilst Mark calls his pregnant ex-partner, he drops this line.
Oh shit. No, Soph. Cancel. I'm cancelling you out of shame. Like my subscription to White Dwarf.
If you're American and not watched the show, go fix that right now. I've watched the full show like 6 times and it stays funny every time. In perhaps the least funny British media ever, Thank God You're Here, where old, unfunny, washed-up comedians dress up and do skits, Ross Noble dresses up as an elf and does an unfunny Lord of the Rings skit, where bizarrely, Nurgle and the Skaven get name-dropped.
The stuff
of Nurgle.
In the show Slow Horses, there's a single-digit amount of frames where you can see some sprues, clippers, and Citadel paints on someone's desk.
Let's go!
For the life of me, I cannot find the episode this belongs to. In the season 33, episode 12 of Doctor Who called Nightmare in Silver, there's a human culture
See,
with
you guys are getting inundated, man. Now you know how culturally relevant it is, you know?
an Imperial Guard that was said to have destroyed an entire planet in order to eradicate aliens. They wear very similar uniforms to the Imperial Guard, use laser guns, and worship an emperor. In a blink and you'll miss it scene in the Will Smith movie Enemy of the State, Will Smith's son is reading White Dwarf.
What?
I got a lot of this information from Reddit.
No way. White Dwarf is in Enemy of the State? Let's fucking go.
As these references are very poorly documented, but special shout out to Crimson Loyalty for catching this micro detail. In The Expanse, during Fight or Flight, Drummer sarcastically tells Fred Johnson that a cathedral converted into a warship sounds like the heart of a great and lasting nation. I wanted to find more context from this one, but this show was a real snoozer. In The Scots, one of them shows that no one's ever heard of, but yet still inexplicably has like 5 seasons. The cast enter a Warhammer tournament and just sort of play Warhammer. It's not too subtle. In Blackberry, a dramatized retelling of the creation of the Blackberry phone, a character is seen painting a space marine.
No
primer.
way. In the Blackberry movie, they're painting space marines? Dude, I gotta go back and watch that now.
However, just
Let's
straight
go.
paint plastic. In episode 3 of Fubar, a CIA slop show featuring Arnold, you can see a cabinet of Warhammer models in a nerdy guy's house.
No way. Let's go.
In the very first episode of Koala Man, a show made by the only Australian I'll ever respect, Michael Cusack, the kid is majorly into a Warhammer-like game. This reference is actually an insane include in this video, as it's mentioned nowhere on the internet. I discovered it myself when I started watching the show while this video was sat unlisted to make sure that boat game didn't get this video demonetized. I pog-faced my TV so hard when I saw it and sprinted to add it to the video.
Nice.
This should explain everything. A farewell to arms. I fell in love with a nurse during World War I? No, just the title. There's no way you've read that.
You'll have to bear with me for the book stuff, as there isn't much in the way of visual references, so enjoy whatever gameplay I put on the screen for the next 2 minutes. In the Rick and Morty comic, there's a panel of Morty staring at a Starhammer display, complete with Cornet references
Hell
to Blood and
yeah.
Skulls. I've had Rick and Morty come up in my other entries in this series, and they're normally pretty weak, but I don't know, I really like this one. I love the little Chaos guy, he's really charming. Also, Korn might be like by far the most referenced thing of Warhammer. This
Yeah,
next
that's
one is
true.
perhaps the weirdest and most direct reference I've ever seen to anything ever. In the 2012 Halloween issue of Family Circus, a super long-running syndicated comic strip from the 60s, consisting of a daily single panel image. The comic consists of a boy getting ready for Halloween, as the comic reads in full, quote, "I've decided I don't want to go as a ghost. I want to dress as Tactical Sergeant Tarkus from the Blood Ravens 4th Company in Warhammer 40,000. I have such a love for niche, surreal name drop comedy, and this might be the greatest example of it ever. It's just baffling. In an unpublished epilogue to the final Doctor Who adventure novel, The Dying Days, a future incarnation of the Doctor
How did
teases
I find?
Jason
Are
Clarke
you
like-
saying how did I find this video? I have a set of special skills that I've acquired over a long career.
claiming the last time he saw Bernice Summerfield, she was being inaugurated as God Empress of all
Oh, okay,
human
yeah, that
space.
guy. Yeah.
In Jim Butcher's series of novels called The Dresden Files, a series spanning 17 books across 20 years, which follows the cast of Magic the Gathering if you've been hit on the head and woke up with a bad case of the Mandela effect.
Oh, wow.
A short story called The Warrior has a character described as, quote, technically Inquisitor of Order Malleus to be more specific. In the space
Yeah, this is
opera
Space
novel
Marine, yeah.
series The Expanse, a collection of books that pushes the limits of what can be considered not the Star Wars font. Soldiers called Iconium Marines are said to wear bright blue power armor with an eagle symbol across their chest. In the supernatural police drama Rivers of London, a character claims to be part of the Ordo
Man of Steel
Mechanics
pitch meeting.
and asks
Okay.
another character if they know what that means, to which that character cracks back, "You maintain the sacred machines to further the glory of the God
We
Emperor
only
of
got 20
mankind."
minutes.
In Goblin Slayer, an anime that did to enjoying goblins what Hitler and James Corden did to their respective countries' national pride, there's a minor antagonist subtly called the Chaos Marine, and he just looks like
What?
this.
No
straight
way,
up a
that's
Space
crazy.
Marine.
I didn't know
When I was
that.
at uni, some greasy pudgeball said, "Oh, you're into goblins? Check this out," and showed me an anime highlight reel on his phone mid-lecture because of this anime. In the October 12th, 2008 issue of Foxtrot, the kids are playing a D&D style game of Lord of the Rings featuring the Balrog.
look at that.
But as the kids don't have a miniature of the Balrog, they use a blood letter in his place.
Yeah, a
Full
little
name
blood
dropping
letter.
In Marvel Comics' Venom Space Knight,
No
the
way.
Tau are just sort of there.
No way. The motherfucking Tau are just in the Venom comic? Are you kidding me?
First, I wasn't sold as this could just be any blue alien. I don't remember the Tau auxiliary species of panda lemurs. But one panel shows the alien race's vehicles, and damn, that's as blatant as it gets.
What? Holy shit, they're the fucking Tau. Who wrote this shit?
Supposedly, Games Workshop took this into legal hands,
Who
but I
wrote
can't
that?
find anything conclusive about it.
They sued them? Oh my god, bro. What? I need to know who wrote that run now. It wasn't Bendis, was it?
In The Unspeakable Cult of Doom, a webcomic about the slice-of-life antics of Cthulhu, issue 341 shows some Grey Knight-looking guys falling through a wormhole, as Cthulhu enjoys some tea with Nurgle and Zinch. I adore the depiction of Zinch here, it's adorable.
Whoa, ass ahoy.
This next section is for random pieces of media too small for their own section, or that just aren't really references. Amarath, a Swedish metal band formed in 2009, have a song called Outer Dimensions, the music video of which ends with a 3-second long scene of a cardboard Terminator just sort of swiveling around. The band Dragon Force have a song called Space Marine Corps. It's kind of about Space Marines, that's it. The species of spider found in Australia was named Abaddon Despellator
No way.
due to its spiky black and yellow appearance.
These goddamn,
Finally, I've
these
seen
goddamn Warhammer fans are everywhere, guys. Are you seeing? Are you seeing it?
a lot of mention of a Warhammer reference in My Little Pony, but the crossover fan art between the two are so unfathomably voluminous that it's kind of buried under a pile of mush. It's just impossible to Google. Weirdly enough, in Total Warhammer 3, there's a reference to My Little Pony in the Ogre's mercenary thing called My Tiny Horse, which does make me think there's something there to this one. And that was every reference to Warhammer that I could find. This was a weird one. On the one hand, there was a few things here that was expected. Lots of British media and a real emphasis on Warhammer players being nerds.
True.
What really shocked me was that I could not find a single reference on the entire internet that explicitly pointed to Age of Sigmar. I love Age of Sigmar, but it seems to have very little cultural significance so far. And if you've ever wondered which Chaos God was the most culturally relevant, it's Khorne, and it's not even close. Thank you all very much for watching. If you loved this format, check out my
Robbie
main channel for a
Thompson
version
wrote
on
it.
Minecraft
Okay.
and Plants vs. Zombies. Cheers.
Interesting. Oh man, that's cool. That's cool. Somebody wanted to watch the pitch meeting for Man of Steel. Pitch meeting, Man of Steel.
Hi there, hello, this
Let's do it.
is Ryan George. Hi there, hello, this is Ryan George from the thing you're about to watch. Please enjoy this pitch meeting for Man of Steel that I made several years ago, before the internet even existed. Good, thank you.
So you have a Superman script for me? Yes, sir, I do. That sounds like fun. No. No? Yeah, no, it's gonna be real serious and real gritty. Oh, it is? Right, because remember how the Dark Knight trilogy made a bunch of money? Are you kidding me? That's all I think about ever. Yeah, so I figure we could do that dark, gritty origin thing again, but this time with Superman. Do you think it matters that Superman is much more of a hopeful and colorful hero than the Dark Knight? I don't think anything matters. Interesting.
Hey, Darth Baba, appreciate it, man. Yeah, I hope people enjoy that video, man. We cooked on that video for sure.
Worldview, all right, so what happens in the movie? Well, the planet Krypton is about to explode, so Superman's dad, Jor-El, is planning on sending him off to Earth. Aren't any other Kryptonians gonna leave the planet too? No, Jor-El tells this council that everyone on this planet is already dead. If they're gonna put a baby Superman on a spaceship, why can't they put other people on spaceships too? Because. Fair enough. Anyway, then this bad guy Zod is gonna try to take over and they're gonna stop him. Oh, so what do they do with him? Well, they banish him from the planet. So they can launch a baby into space and they can launch bad guys into space, but they have to stay on a planet that's gonna explode? That's what we're going with. Well, okay then. Anyway, so Superman's gonna be raised as Clark Kent in Kansas, and his adoptive father wants him to keep his identity a secret. Okay. So when Clark is a kid and he saves a bunch of kids from drowning, his dad's like, maybe you shouldn't have done that. What? Yeah, he's like, you know, your secret is that important. You probably should have just stood around and watched all your classmates drown. Wow, he must really care about that secret. Yeah, so anyway, then he tells Clark about the time that he brought a bit of his spaceship stuff to a specialist who told him it wasn't from this Earth. Wait, so Clark has to keep it a secret, but he can bring some space junk to a guy? That's right. Wow, super unfair. And then we're gonna have this thing where Pa Kent dies in a tornado because he doesn't want Clark to help him. Why? Because if a person saves someone from a tornado, that person is automatically an alien. Feels like there might be other conclusions people would come to before that one. Well, Pa Kent giant, doesn't want to risk it, so he lets himself die. Huh. Anyway, so when Clark is older, he's confronted by this jerk at a truck stop bar, and he restrains himself from kicking the guy's butt. Oh, that's great. It's important to show that he's the bigger man, and plus this way he won't draw attention to himself. Yeah, but then he's gonna impale the guy's truck on some massive logs. What? Yeah, then he leaves. That's much more suspicious and also makes him seem like a petty character. Yeah, but it's gonna look cool visually. Oh, it is? Okay, never mind the story and character and theme. Great. So what else happens in the movie? Is Lois Lane in it? You bet, and she also has superpowers. What do you mean? Well, she can survive in -40 weather with no problem at all. She can teleport across the city to show up where she needs to be, and she's somehow able to resist the pull of a massive gravity machine. Those are some pretty impressive
You know what? The stuff with Lois is so wild that I remember people legitimately had theories that she was actually the Spectre. Because they were like, there's no way she's actually going to show up continuously every time in like a big moment. Because it gets worse. Like, it's crazy in Man of Steel, but it's like way worse in Batman v Superman. She's always there.
Powers. Yeah, so anyway, later in the movie, Superman and Zod are gonna have this massive fight in Metropolis. So Clark is gonna lure Zod away from the city? No, he's gonna punch him through some buildings. Okay, but then he's gonna lure him away from the city? No, he's gonna punch him through some buildings for 40 minutes. Oh my god. Yeah. So many people are gonna die you don't even know. Feels like it's gonna
40 minutes of punching through buildings. Let's fucking go. I've never seen anything like it.
Be difficult to keep a fight scene interesting for 40 minutes. Actually, super easy, barely an inconvenience. Oh, really? Yeah, we're gonna keep things spicy by throwing in some, you know, extremely generic dialogue. How generic are we talking? Well, Zod's gonna be like, there's only one way this thing ends, Cal. Either I die or you do. Wow. And also Clark is gonna be like, you're a monster, Zod, and I'm gonna stop you. That is so incredibly generic, I love it. Also, Superman and Lois Lane are gonna kiss. Why? Well, he saved her from falling, and also they're like an iconic couple, right? Right, but did we build up a romance between them in the movie? Not really. And aren't they standing in the middle of a bunch of dead bodies and destroyed buildings? Yeah, it's gonna be super romantic. You have a pretty weird concept of romance. Yeah, I had a weird childhood. Weird childhoods are tight. Oh yeah, brother. So how does the movie end? Well, Zod is about to use his heat vision to kill a family, so Superman has to stop him before he does. So he grabs him and flies away with him? No. He uses super speed to get the family out of the way? No, sir, he doesn't. He steps in front of the blast and takes the hit himself? No, he breaks Zod's neck. What? Yeah, and then he screams because he's so upset that he had to do that. Feels like there were a lot of other options, though. Whoops, whoopsie. Anyway, so yeah, then the city's destroyed and thousands of people are dead and Superman killed someone. Wow, how are we gonna deal with the after?
And it was at this moment that I was like, dude, I've never in my fucking life seen DC be so cool. Oh my god, it's like we're fucking awesome. We're the cool kids finally. Let's fucking go.
Math of that. We're not. We're gonna jump forward in time. Oh, we're not gonna deal with the consequences? No, that would be super difficult. Very much an inconvenience. Fair enough. Yeah, maybe in a future movie or something. I don't know. Well, okay then. So yeah, we're gonna jump forward in time and have Superman destroy a $12 million military drone and be like, stop following me, you jerks. Wow. And then he's gonna get hired at the Daily Planet despite having no experience. And people aren't gonna realize that he's Superman? No, because he has glasses. Oh, I figured since we were going the gritty route, we would do away with that whole glasses hide his identity thing. No, that stays. If you say so. So what do you think? Well, honestly, man, as long as this lays the groundwork for the DCEU, I'm happy, you know? I hear ya. Justice League movie, here we come. Oh yeah, that's when we're really gonna cash in on these superheroes.
Damn, Justice League. That was crazy. You know, dude, I remember I still have this Funko Pop somewhere. I went to because I saw Justice League in theaters. By the way, how many of y'all saw the Justice League in theaters, man? I'm talking the Justice League, the theatrical one. How many of you have been through that fucking Rubicon? So I remember I went to it, and it was me, my buddy Kelvin, and nobody else in our friend group would go. There were IMAX tickets. It was $20 a ticket. And when we bought both IMAX tickets, they handed us a very special Funko. And it was the Flash, but it was the Flash without his mask on. Okay? So Ezra Miller, Flash, without his helmet on. Now, at first I was like, hey, this is kind of cool. This could end up being worth something. This is kind of rare. And then Ezra, of course, treated Hawaii like it was Grand Theft Auto, right? So yeah, dude, it's just a wild world, you know. We've been on a crazy adventure here for a long time. Oh, the memories, man. Darth Snape, thank you for the cheers, man. Appreciate it. Thank you. Brandon Skelenar as Wonder Woman. That might be the craziest one we've seen all day, so I appreciate that. John Cross also wanted me to go over the UFC. So let's go over the UFC real quick, and then we'll get ready for this Warhammer presentation. Whoa, what the hell? Okay, here we go. Wow, this is a pretty good card. Okay, let's take a peek. Take a peek at all this. Let's see here. Don't know these. We'll go with the American. Going with the American. Oh no, a Polish man and an oh, this guy's a Superman tattoo too. Man, this is tough. What are the odds here? No odds? I'm so torn. I'll go with the Polak. Another Polak? Let's go. We'll go with that guy. We'll go with the American. I'm not familiar with these guys at all. Dude, there's something about these two dudes. I feel like that's going to be a good fight. Not really familiar with them. Let's go with the guy from Cameroon. We'll go with Nikolov. I like Martin Vittori. We'll go with Martin Vittori. Look at this dude. This dude's like an absolute killer. Kyler Phillips. They got to get a different photo, though. He looks like some weird photoshopped, like, Barbie-looking motherfucker. Like, this is not an intimidating... I don't like this. But I will go with him. Let's go with Michael. Let's go with Dan Ige, man. Still holding it down after so long. I like Dan Ige a lot. Love Kevin Holland, man. And I loved his last performance. Hoping he can get another win, start to stack some wins. I like Paulo Costa. Let's go with Paulo Costa. And then in the main card, we'll go with Max. Let's go with the Max. Yeah, we'll go with Max on that. Actually, pretty good card, though. Yeah, actually pretty good card. Interesting. All right, guys. I'm going to go use the restroom in a little bit here. And then we've got the big summer preview show, Warhammer show, starting in just a couple of minutes. I know everybody's really excited. So I'm going to go use the restroom. And then I'll be right back. Let's get it. dun, 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 dun. By the way, there's probably, I mean, unless I'm like way off here, there's probably like only 2 or 3 things that are really going to blow my mind today. But I do love Warhammer. I want to check this out. But they're going to talk about like Age of Sigmar, all these other. I only really play Warhammer 40K. Although there are some 30K things if they did Custodes that would interest me. So we'll see. What's the first background song you played on break? That was fire. Oh, I have no idea, bro. I have no idea. Horus Heresy 3.0 looks pretty good. Yeah, it does. It does look pretty good. Maybe if I could build... because there's certain Custodes stuff you can use in both. So, maybe. Yeah, those Black Library updates. Hell yeah. Your intro musics are majestic. Yeah, thanks, man. I use a lot of, like, I don't know. It's just, like, copyright-free stuff I found via Spotify and all that. Dun, 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 dun. Let's go, Josh F4. I'm excited, man. Fantastic Four. Let's go. Have you ever played Warhammer on stream? I have, but I think I took the stream down. It's pretty niche. You know, someday maybe we'll do more streams of the actual game. You know, I was actually, there's a big tournament tomorrow that's fairly close to me. I was very close to going to that tournament. The problem is it would have been an all-day thing. Like, literally, your first game is, like, 11 a.m. and your last game ends at, like, 10 p.m. And that's only 3 rounds. So I was like, damn, like, I want to play, but I can't just, I couldn't commit to the time. So hopefully within the next couple of weeks, I'm going to actually go to an in-person tournament. I'm trying to get more reps, man. Trying to get more reps. Do an IRL vlog video for the Hammer channel? Yeah, I thought about something like that. It would be cool to at least record a little bit of playing in a tournament. It'd be fun. So I would love some Custodes stuff, some Space Marine updates, the Grey Knight stuff, the range refresh. That would be cool. Yeah, the big things are, what are the upcoming models for 40K? Are there any updates on the indexes or any rules updates or anything like that? And then there's stuff for the Black Library, which is like the novels and the lore. So hoping to get a cool update on both of those. It's for the game, but there is potentially some lore stuff going on here too. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what it is, man. You know, I figured, fuck it. It goes on today. It's about time when we were done with all our topics anyway. It's a chill ass Friday stream, so fuck it. We'll throw this thing on. I can't imagine it's longer than an hour. It might even be shorter. It might only be like a half hour. We'll see. Not sure. Space Wolves Kill Team box. Ooh, that would be nice. That'd be cool. That would be really cool. I don't know. I mean, you know, I don't know that anything too crazy is going to be announced. But you never know. You never know. Thought you didn't stream on Fridays anymore. Yeah, I don't plan on it. But this week I felt bad because I missed Wednesday or Tuesday. I don't remember. Wednesday, I think. Yes. Every Primarch back and in plastic. Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like, I don't think we're gonna get anything like that, but I mean, I'm here for it if we do. I'm about that life. That shit would be chill. That shit would be so chill. Yeah, Adam fell deep, man. I actually did not think he would. Any video game stuff happening here? I'm not sure. Maybe. Although they have Skulls, which we watched a couple of weeks ago.
Hello, everybody, and welcome. We are
Ooh, it's like glitchy a little bit.
You today to the big summer Warhammer preview. My name is Adam Troke. I'm joined by my friend and colleague Eddie Eccles, and it is our delight to host this show.
Yeah, very exciting. We have a big preview today.
There's a lot going on.
There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of Warhammer. We've got stuff from all sorts of different settings, from Warhammer 40,000, Age of Sigmar, some Horus Heresy in the mix there as well. There's a little bit of something for everybody, it's fair to say.
Yeah, you're not
I
wrong.
hope so.
Let's talk about how it's going to work a little bit. If you're new, maybe this is your first Warhammer preview you've joined in. We are your hosts, but we are not alone. We have the excellent Simon Grant sat over
Better
there
be
in
good.
Question Corner. Simon, what are you doing today?
Hey folks, welcome to the show. I'm going to be fielding questions on behalf of Eddie and Adam. So if you do have any questions,
Turn his mic up a
them,
little.
Please start your question with question in big letters, capital letters at the start of all your comments, and I will do my best to track them, and hopefully we'll get an opportunity later on in the show to ask Eddie and Adam those questions.
Perfect. Thanks, Simon. We're going to be taking some breaks throughout the sort of proceedings to try and field a few of those questions. We have a lot of content to cover off.
All right, well, let's get it.
We're going to be here for between an hour and 90 minutes if we go fast. So bear with us and we'll do our best. We're aware the chat is still filling up. There's people flooding in from around the world. So the first thing I'd like to do is throw a question out there, maybe get you involved, which is let us know where in the world you're from. I do it every time and I always enjoy the answer. And while you start punching in your coordinates, not too specific, I've got a question for you, Eddie. Done any hobby lately?
Oh, I'm glad you asked, Adam. Yeah, I've been doing a little bit of Horus Heresy hobby.
Very nice.
You guys been doing any hobby lately? Y'all been? What are you guys doing? You start to get into it? You painting up an army? What are you doing?
I did, and I did. So I've got some white scars on my table at the moment. Got them all sprayed up, and I've started painting a jet bike, but using some of the Horus Heresy transfers on the side, so it looks very nice.
Awesome.
Looking forward to getting some of those done. I've also got some Space Wolves. I bought the new Space Wolf box. Like a lot of people, very excited by the new Space Wolf army as well.
Very, even as
it's
a dark
a lovely box.
Tempting.
I think that has brought
tackling
a lot
your
of people
tower
to
right now. Cool.
How about yourself? Have you been doing any
Well,
cool
I'm
Warhammer?
glad you asked. The short answer is yes. I bought myself some a new kill team. I went for the Hernkin yesterday, and I'm going to have a crack at that. I've not really painted kill team stuff. I've always used things from my main army. The other thing, it's only went to the Throne of Skulls with my good friend Damien O'Byrne, and we brought home a gold medal, which was super fun to play so many games of the Middle-earth Strategy Battle game together with so many lovely. Huge shout out. I met a father and son team who'd flown all the way across to join in from the US, and they're now hiking, backpacking around the mountains somewhere
What an unexpected
in Spain.
journey.
Wow, that's cool.
Tremendous. So I hope you get to tune in wherever you are.
I was going to refresh to catch up.
Globe, someone's claiming they're even from Caliban. I'm not sure the truth of that one.
Only the very best among us could possibly come from such an estimable place. Awesome. Right. So, as I said before, we've got about 90 minutes worth of like wall-to-wall Warhammer content in this big
wall-to-wall, baby.
We should probably look to begin.
We should look to begin, motherfucker. I didn't know it was 90 minutes.
Punch the first video.
So just before we go in, the new guy, he's a little bit peculiar, but just bear with, okay?
Who is it? Is it Henry? What?
The Votan revives.
Votan! Refresh! Whoa. Dude, that looks sick. Votan getting some love. Damn, okay.
Just two little dudes on a road trip.
What an incredible set of reveals for the Leagues of Votan.
Yeah, so this is the largest release for the Leagues of Votan since the initial
they're
release
already
of the army.
doing really
This is
good
a
in the
huge
tournaments
expansion,
right
all
now.
in plastic
What the fuck?
For that force. There is new heavy infantry, there's some new artillery, there's loads of new really characterful characters to add into the army, there's some new vehicles,
They're gonna be like
all sorts of
even
stuff.
better.
So, there's the kind of shot of the full army there, but let's take a closer look at some of the specific models, specific units.
Yeah, that
being
one
added
guy
into the
has
force.
like a
We'll start
guardian
with,
spear. Looks
So
sick,
the
dude.
Arcanist Evaluator.
Yeah, so within the Leagues of Votan, they're not afraid of developing technology and expanding their understanding.
True.
And so an Arcanist Evaluator is kind of, aside from the ordinary kin within the sort of the war bands that operate, he's a member of the science guilds that are responsible for new technologies, and he brings to battle an experimental weapon in the sort of closing phases of development.
Looks like a Ghostbusters
This is a
thing.
transmatter inverter.
It's a cool name.
Yeah, it's got 4 fire modes, and on the highest one, it literally triggers lethal atomic transformations. What that means is death.
Yeah, so he's taken out his new experimental weapon basically to the battlefield to see if it is, as he suspects, powerful enough to melt Space Marines, tanks, or Tyranid monsters, whatever he happens to come up against.
Pretty much yes to the above.
Pretty much yes to all of the above. He's not part of the official sort of Leagues of Votan military hierarchy, so he doesn't join your units necessarily, but he kind of hangs around in your army next to them, and he's got kind of loan operative ability if he's near your infantry, that sort of
Loan
thing.
op?
But a
Get the
very useful,
fuck
characterful
outta
little model
here.
to add into your Leagues of Votan force, and a nice way of kind of showing the some of the kind of lore and culture of the army as well, of the Leagues of Votan.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a glimpse behind the sort of the curtain, isn't it? And you can see some really cool things that sort of key into that. He's got these optics on his weapon that you can almost imagine sort of recording the data from the results.
That's a very cool head as well, kind of mad scientist vibe going on.
And if you wanted to, there's a separate, a different head that you can have, which is helmeted, or if you just fancy some health and safety protocols.
I like that head, though.
That's the way to go. Next up,
that's some good
my
head.
absolute standout favourite. This is the
This
thing that
looks
made me
sick
march
as
into
fuck,
Warhammer
dude.
World yesterday and buy some
It's like a tech
Leagues of
marine?
Votan models for myself. The Memnir Strategist. He is an Ironkin. Those of you who are fans of the League of Votan will understand that the Ironkin are
Abominable intelligences.
Well, not in their mind, but they're artificial intelligences which they hold an equal position within Votan society. There's a CU unit inside of each of them, and that's sort of within that iron dome that is normally his head. The first really cool thing about this model is that you see the little noodly things that are on, in the Imperium you call them mechadendrites, right? These cables that come out of him. Each of those is an additional CU unit. So he is the combined intelligence of multiple Ironkin, essentially.
Interesting.
And he uses that to enormous effect in terms of strategy and tactics on the battlefield, directing the efforts of the kin around him.
It's a really cool model. That looks really cool.
Yield points, which we'll talk a little bit more about later. And most importantly, he looks amazing.
Yeah,
it's a very, very cool miniature, isn't it? Really characterful. I think also got some spare arms on the front there, which is holding on to his little data pad. He's tapping away on there, giving orders to all the various kin and Leagues of Votan units across the battlefield. And his main pair of arms he's used to sort of hold in his contemplative state, which is the exact pose that I have when I'm considering my movement phase in Warhammer 40,000.
And if you want to dazzle your friends with some knowledge, the array he's got on his back is called a cognitar mantle, and that's where he gets like his extra brain power from.
Interesting.
Really sensational. Speaking of Ironkin, these are a new unit of Ironkin. They are called the Steeljacks. 2 types of metal in one name.
These are going to be
what's the story?
Yeah, so this is the Ironkin Steeljacks. They are a specialist more warrior type of Ironkin. A lot of the Ironkin are fairly sort of helpful. They're kind of
they
default
fill normal civilian roles in society.
Default state is a sort of friendly, affable helpers for the Leagues of Votan for the kin. These are a much more warlike programming, so they march out actively into battle, seeking conflict. They are in very large suits of armor, so they stand kind of almost twice the height of a kin or a League of Votan warrior. And they have got some pretty decent weaponry as well. You can kit them out in a variety of different ways. You can either go combat leaning. This is an example there, where you can have like concussion fists and bolt guns, or you can go with a ranged option. In game terms, they work a little bit like Wraithguard, I suppose, is the closest approximate. So very durable unit, quite powerful weaponry, very good for doing things like moving on to an objective and trying to hold on to it, and fighting off enemy counterattacks, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, in real terms,
that's a big old dwarf, man.
Heavily armored, extremely dangerous unit. You can see the leader in the squad as you've looked at these pictures by the Primarch crest, which sort of rises above his head. There we go.
I like that. Yeah,
He's
that's
got a
cool.
plasma sword. Guy on the front's got a concussion fist. Great new addition to the Leagues of Votan army, I think it's fair to say. We're not done. There's more. The Chthonian Earthshaker channels some really strong energy from that sort of rogue trader era. Do you remember mole mortars for squat
Very
armies?
well, yes.
So these are sort of inverse artillery in that rather than lobbing a shot high above the enemy, they fire those mole shells that you can see down at the bottom deep into the ground. They burrow in on the enemy and emerge in a trench line, in a bunker, and just blow everyone to Kingdom Come.
Each one of these is a really lovely sort of diorama in their own right as well. So you can see the kin there working with the Iron Kin, loading up the artillery. You can see one of them there with his little scanner, almost directing the mole as it kind of buries underground towards the enemy fortifications. Obviously, it's a powerful piece in game. You've got all sorts of nice kind of ways that this will bolster your Leagues of Votan force, which at the moment maybe doesn't have a huge amount of very long range artillery. And yeah, I think it's a great kit, really.
Awesome. Speaking of the bigger models that are inside this launch, we have the Capricus. So the Capricus is one of those kits that makes two things. You can see here the Capricus Defender. We'll show you the Capricus Carrier in a minute. Essentially, it is either a sort of attack vehicle for the Hernkin, or it's a transport vehicle. They've got so this is the Carrier. So it's a smaller gun. It's got less other weapons on it, and you can see the stowage bag for the crew that will ride in the back. Whichever you take.
Dude, Atosuke, you're fine, man. You can let people just. People can say whatever they want to say. It's fine.
Yeah, so it adds a bit of a mobility. Into
I mean, look, at the end of the day, like, to me, it's like, it's been a long week. I'm just watching some Warhammer shit, and then we're gonna get out of here. It's all good. We've had a really good week. Even this stream, man, we did a lot of other nerdy stuff, so it's whatever.
You can either having the transport option, or you can just have all the guns and have a fast-moving.
It's all good, man. It's all good.
For me, this is stunning. This is what made me march off to Warhammer World yesterday and buy the Hernkin.
There's some really lovely little touches on this. The stowage bags are really nice.
I want to see the guy with the spear.
I like that you can build this with two Ironkin as well. So if you want an Ironkin pilot and an Ironkin gunner, you can build them like that. Fans of Ironkin generally, there is a lot of Ironkin in this Leagues of Votan.
Yeah, it seems like it. Holy. Show the guy with the spear.
A new combat patrol for the Leagues of Votan.
Holy shit! Some of these dudes look awesome.
Patrols, if we're familiar with Warhammer.
Look at those fucking big guns! Oh my god!
It's a fantastic way to start an army, or to bolster an army if you've already got one. This one
I feel like they're going to be even stronger, man. They're already really strong in the game right now.
It's just one of the ingredients to bulk out a force.
Yeah, there's some really useful units in there as well. Like you don't see a League of Votan army that doesn't have all of those units.
Yeah, there's no wastage there.
So it's all good stuff. A couple of boxes of these, and then a couple of the new units, and you've got an army.
You're
basically.
away. Yeah, absolutely so. Now, on to
Look at
for many
this thing.
people's opinion, I expect the main event of this release.
This is cool.
Bury Agneson. Eddie?
So Bury Agneson is the last survivor of a Leagues of Votan clan, which has been consumed by the encroaching Tyranid menace.
Oh, that is
sick. He is known as the Thrice Devoured. A Tyranid monster has actually eaten this guy, but that wasn't enough to keep him down. He clawed his way out of its gullet, climbed his way back out to safety 3 times, apparently, and now goes across the galaxy, across the kin warbands as a roving Tyranid
that's kind of badass.
Absolutely. He's in terms of specialist, he is an absolutely elite combat unit. He's equipped with that Dark Star glaive, which you see there, which is called Bane. He's pure violence in melee form.
I think you're going to get a lot of this guy in armies because his rules are very good. He is got a great combat stat line, but he's also a lone operative. So you can imagine this guy advancing either on his own or alongside, kind of behind your forces, and swooping in on the big enemy monsters and stuff that get forward to threaten your battle line.
Yeah, and his lore really comes into it. So he's a member of, well, he's the only member now of an organisation called the Emberg Aegir Block, which is one of the Leagues of Votan, literally wiped out down to the very last kin, which is this guy. And so he's so bitter, his whole life is devoted now to just hunting down the Tyranid menace and supporting other leagues to stop the same thing happening to them. And you see that played out on his model. He's got this sort of belt buckle, which very much looks like he's sort of taken some affectations from the Tyranids. He's got what looks like, we've been having quite a discussion about this, a Tyranid Prime sort of cadaver.
I think it's a Tyranid Prime that he's got over the top of his head. Yeah. There's a nice little nod in this model as well to there's like the idea at some point that the squats were eaten by the Tyranids.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this guy kind of goes, well, yeah, they were eaten by the Tyranids, but also they clawed their way out again. So there is a little bit of truth to that sort of that outdated understanding maybe of what happened to that faction.
Fantastic. And all this obviously will be supported with Codex Leagues of Votan, an all-new Codex for Warhammer 40,000, which contains...
When does that drop?
I've had quite a while to read this week. It's just full of spankingly good lore. It's got great rules and art. It explains all of the new things, obviously. In terms of the rules, there's too much to go into in any real detail here. But a thing to cover would be those yield points, which is the sort of army-wide mechanic.
Dude, fucking Votan. They're going to be so
yeah.
good.
So yield points effectively changes the way your army works over the course of the game, and it works in the way that the Leagues of Votan approach acquisition effectively. So early on in the game, when you haven't got very many yield points, you're getting bonuses for attacking enemy units on objectives for the most part across your army.
Okay.
And then later on, once you've acquired yield points, you get bonuses for having your own units on objectives. So they get better at defending them, better bonuses for their own defense, that sort of thing.
Yeah, it sort of encourages you to play in that very sort of acquisition-focused way that the Leagues of Votan work.
And it's a really great mechanic, right? Because it's exactly how you win games of Warhammer 40,000. Early on, you kick people off objectives. Later on, you hold on to the objectives. So
and some of the
I've never played against
some of the
Leagues of
that already
Votan.
exist in the Votan army now have rules that key into that.
But
For
now I
example,
don't
the
want
Memnir
to.
Strategist just lets you increase or decrease your yield score by 1 each turn.
Yeah.
So really sort of thoughtfully put in so that this guy who's overseeing the total sort of tactical function of your army can just go nudge and help you out.
Yeah.
We should show some of the models.
Let's do it, yeah.
So we've got some in front of us. We're very lucky to be allowed to put our paws on the heavy metal miniatures. So there'll be a bit of sort of scale comparison here, but here you can see this is the Arcanist, and then you've got the Memnir. They're like normal Votan sized. So any kin is about the same sort of proportion as those.
Okay,
And here
so
you
those
can
are
see
like
just
Terminator
how
size,
sort of
yeah.
much bigger the Steeljacks are. I think your comparison that you made to compare them to Wraithguard is really quite fair.
Yeah, they're about the same size as a Wraithguard. It's kind of in that ballpark of kind of medium
Oh, shit,
heavy
look at
infantry.
how big those
This is the
bases
new
are.
artillery piece. It's maybe not like as big as something like an Imperial Guard tank or something like that,
Yeah.
but
That's so hefty.
compact, mobile, that sort of thing, fitting in with the aesthetic of the rest of the Leagues of Votan. You can sort of imagine it starting life as a piece of mining equipment, and they've sort of evolved it into a weapon.
You can definitely see sort of some of those origins. I just want to draw some attention to some of the super cool bits on it. This guy here, you can see over his shoulder, he's got like a data slate. You've got this sort of, I don't know, like loading hatch that you can model open or closed. On this side, you've got a case which has more of the shells. You get spare shells to put on their own bases. It's just a really thoughtfully designed and very exciting kit. So we should show more though, because this is by no means the end of it.
Show the spear guy.
We've got the Capricus here, so we'll just make some space on the table so we can have a look at this guy. So this is your new vehicle. This is the
How expensive are
Defender
they?
pattern, which is
Like,
the gun version.
like $100
As you can see there's a little bit of space,
each.
not quite enough space for transport on this one, but there is one which is a transport vehicle. But I really like the Ironkin on this. Is actually
He's got like a tiny little chair.
He's quite small, yeah, because they wouldn't fit a full-sized kin in there, so they've given him a little tiny Ironkin, actually perfectly designed for the role.
Absolutely, and I guess the star of the show himself in many ways.
He is.
Agnir.
So thrice devoured there. It's still kind of kin-sized, but you can have have a look on this model here that so much of him is now bionic, right? So he's been chewed up and
fingers that do it.
Yeah, chewed up
Really
and
cool.
spat out so many times that like his arm, bits of his arms, most of his face, perhaps a kind of unspecified amount of his body has probably been dissolved by horrible Tyranid bioacid in their stomach and things.
True.
But he's still kicking. And
True.
It also shows how durable the kin are, right? So they're specially designed by their Votan to be durable, to endure kind of the most hostile conditions, and he's a good example of how that's kind of manifesting.
Yeah, it's really cool, isn't it?
Bro,
I
they
think we
gotta
covered
get
the
going,
league
though.
pretty
Yeah,
thoroughly,
you covered
right?
the league pretty good.
Before we
We're gonna be here for
move
2
on,
hours.
We're going
You
to go
gotta
to the
go.
old world next. A couple of sort of housekeeping bits. The first one would be we're going to return to the 41st millennium at the end of the preview. So particularly if you like Kill Team, but also there's some other things for other factions as well. Do hang around if you like Warhammer 40,000. The other thing I would say is that lots of the people who mentioned that they were joining us from around the world, you can interact with our social teams. We have sort of international social teams that manage our various sort of social media places. Here they are. If you want to sort of get involved in the conversation in the language which suits you, go knock yourself out. They're really lovely people. They're really engaged and want to sort of make sure that you get to hear about Warhammer in the language that suits you. So. And if you speak English or you're willing to take a pot shot at it, these are our socials as well. So please come and join the conversation.
Yeah, we'll see you there. Yep.
Right. Time for a little bit of Warhammer the Old World.
Yeah, let's do it.
Show me some Old World.
First up, we have brand new units for the Tomb Kings of Khemri. This is a new
People do love
multi-part
those
kit.
Tomb Kings.
Makes the Royal Heralds. The easiest way to describe these is that you have a battle standard bearer and you have a new hero / lord. You could make that and call it a Tomb Prince or a Tomb King. I think it's up to you. You get a battle standard, which you can put on either thing. So if you fancy a faster moving battle standard, stick it on the horse guy. If you fancy him like standing around in one of your big regiments of skeleton warriors or tomb guard, then go for the on foot version. There's
I've got some buddies that are into the old
as
world.
well. Battle standard bearers are key to Warhammer armies. If you play the old world, you'll know.
Yeah, I love this battle standard. That kind of weird scorpion. Both the paint scheme and the model itself are very cool. As you say, this is multi-part as well, so you can swap and change if you want the faster one. If you've got lots of chariots or something in your army, you can mix them in. I would imagine there's a fair bit of customizability between this kit and some of the other Tomb Kingy bits as well.
Yes, yeah, not just within this kit itself, but also I think things like the Tomb Guard, for example. So this isn't the only new plastic kit coming for the Tomb Kings of Khemri. We also have the Leech Priests, who are fundamental to the workings, literally, of the Tomb Kings.
Yeah, you absolutely need Lich Priests in your army if you've got a Tomb King's army. Your army only woke up because you had Lich Priests. It's their job to kind of keep the magic flowing that keeps your army marching forward. Again, this is a multi-part kit. There's some lovely options on these. You can see they're perhaps a little bit less dead than some of the other Khemri, but they're still very definitely.
Look, I love Warhammer, but sometimes the way the British talk about Warhammer.
For bringing that back. It's a really lovely image of these sort of animated creatures that have sort of come alive through the magic of the rituals.
I think you were saying as well that looks like it's right out.
You know what I mean? That's why you need some Americans making content about Warhammer, so we can keep it exciting.
And I mean that as the highest possible compliment. Tomb King veterans might be wondering if that's extra armor on the skeletal steed. It certainly is. We'll talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, these models look sick for
but
sure.
Yes, you can have a barded skeletal steed, which I think might be quite useful if you're used to.
So for me, right, like, because I don't really play these other systems, but what I will do is when I see these models, I'll be thinking to myself like, hey, does any of this look like something that I could use for a kit bash or for a conversion? So I still like to look at the models and whatnot just to see. But yeah, no, I mean, I'm not gonna be playing these systems.
It's also inhabited.
Can I show some of my models?
Some dwarfs.
Sure.
And you've got sort of dispossessed barons and nobles from both the Empire and Bretonia, and so they are forced to rally in defence of a full-scale invasion of the undead from Khemri. There are rules for sort of allied forces.
I painted this boy up.
Playing smaller games in like a timely and interesting fashion. It's just packed, and it's a really cool way of looking at the lore of the old world and how they're sort of explaining the things that took place in this particular part of the Warhammer timeline.
Yeah.
Look at this. I painted this guy up.
Well, I think
yeah, absolutely.
The team diving into the opportunities that the world allows them to have.
And see what I mean about the artwork, right? Sort of the guy in the centre, like it just, in this piece, it really just screams the imagery that we saw before. I love it. There's another Arcane Journal coming, which is equally exciting. Just happens at the other side, quite literally, of the region in the old world.
What is this, like
the
some
old world.
lore?
This is Dawn of the Storm Dragon, and it features a bold strategic move made by Miao Ying, who's the lady pictured in the centre. She's
what's up, Darth Bishop? You should go see Superman, man. It's pretty good.
And she learns of the Chaos Invasion, which is happening in the north, and is concerned that it's going to gain too much traction.
How many units
so
count as one of those models? Like, is one model 100 of them or something?
Soldiers,
yeah, so each model has a point value.
Sails to the Empire, sets up an enclave,
and you know, it depends on what kind of point level you're playing.
In real terms, that's
usually you play 2,000 points.
There's rules in there for all sorts of things, including the opportunity to have an allied force of Grand Cathay and the Empire of Man.
Nice double feature. That sounds
We've never had
fun,
anything like that before, really, have we? So
yeah. So, and I think this is sort of a great example of the really sort of bold and exciting things that the studio team responsible for the old world are doing. They clearly love the setting. They want to explore it in really rich and vibrant detail.
Sounds great.
Absolutely.
Hell yeah. Moves on to the next one.
We should throw over to Question Corner and see if Simon's got any questions for us.
What have you got for us, Simon?
What do you got?
Loads and loads of questions. I think the majority of them are focusing on the Leagues of Votan. There's loads of shiny new toys coming out there, of course. So the first one is actually about the judgment tokens. Are they still a thing? Obviously, we've got the yield rules, but what about judgment tokens?
So the focus in terms of the army mechanic is those yield points that we've talked about before. It's always good when we get a question which is like, can you tell me the really granular rules things? Because the answer is no. We've got 90 minutes to rail through as much stuff as we can, as fast as we can. we'll cover way more detail about.
Seems like they're getting
Votan
big
rules and
rule
mechanics and all those
changes.
things as we lead towards it. But you're in for some subtle changes in the way the leagues of Votan work, and it's quite exciting.
When a
We've
British
got
when a
another one
British
which were
person says subtle
the
changes,
funky
they
drill
mean
shell tokens
big
on the
changes.
Chthonian Earthshaker. What do they represent?
So I do have a really short and candid answer for that. You saw them on the little base beside. The kit comes designed for you to have 2 of those. Mine, if I remember correctly, and don't like sue me, internet, if I get it wrong.
I will.
You put them down alongside the Earthshaker when you deploy, and you can remove one from the game to give yourself rerolls on wound rolls as you're playing. So, yeah, kind of fun. It's like it represents something, and you take it off.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, so the unit is sort of set up so that they have some specialist shells, so that'd be like representing the unit being like, right, we're going to use one of the big ones now. This is the important shot.
Cool.
Perfect.
And probably got time for one more, so let's go with how many models can the Capricus carrier transport?
Great question.
It carries 5, so it works a little bit like some of the other Leagues of Votan transports, where you take a unit of, usually come in 10s, you split the unit in half, so 5 of them can go in that. If you've got 2 of the transports, you can carry both the units round in those, or you can leave 5 of them back on your...
James Gunn just confirmed that he's directing the Superman sequel. Why?
Thank you.
How?
So, we'll draw a curtain on the old world, but we will go to the mortal realms instead. There's some
What, the
exciting things,
Steelers? You don't
across
think so?
the
Not with
board here.
Aaron Rodgers?
And let's start with
What
a
about
new
Aaron
battle tome
Rodgers?
for Death, the Death Grand Alliance. These are the Flesh Eater Courts. Many of you will be familiar with them. These are the like foul and abominable cannibal monstrosities who unfortunately have delusions, quite literally, of being noble and elegant and chivalric, and the truth couldn't be sort of further from that.
Yeah, they absolutely imagine that they are in service to some grand king on perhaps a grand crusade of some sort, or
I don't
part of a
see it.
pageant, or a noble feast of
I
some
think
sort,
you're
but are in
fooling.
fact horrible, degenerate cannibals, as you say. The new battle tome has all the stuff that you would expect, lots of new ways to use your army, new magic abilities, new enhancements, changes to some of the way the war scrolls work, so lots of exciting stuff. And perhaps most excitingly, there is a new
talking about the
miniature,
Happy, Sad,
on the
Confused
way to accompany
podcast?
them, which is the High
Whoa.
Falconer Felgrin. So much like the rest of the Flesh
I like
Eater Courts,
this
this
dude.
guy is under
With
an
the
illusion.
bats?
His particular delusion is that he is a falconer in charge of noble and wise avian creatures, where in fact he is in charge of a swarm of rabid bats. In the model is
Yeah,
very
he is
characterful,
42,
he's got
but
this
he's
kind of
pretty good. We'll
weird,
see.
Crazy hat. He's
I don't know.
kind
I'm
of
trying to keep an open
Almost
mind.
like the vestiges of that nobility that you were just referring to, right? He's got like a very sort of like huntsman-y style hat on,
Yep.
and the tattered
Yeah, this
robes
dude
of the
looks
person that
sick.
might be performing that duty. But he's also got guts hanging off.
It's
the
a
trees
very
as well.
fun. It's a very fun miniature. I think in the spinning shot, maybe you can just picture it. But there is a bat that comes with him, which is basically a token that represents something in the game,
Sure.
where he sends one of his falcons off to spy
Sure,
an
sure,
enemy
sure.
unit, and that can give you bonuses in game.
I don't see the
basically.
big deal with Gunn
these are
directing
kind
the
of
sequel.
spies, the
It's
eyes
not
and ears
necessarily
of
the
Flesh Eater
biggest deal
Courts.
because they have other
And
stuff
if you
coming out
direct
too.
it to an enemy unit, it can give your squires, your kind of ghouls.
It kind of depends on what it
bonuses against that
is,
enemy
you know.
unit. You can do things like take
I
away
mean, it's
their
hard for
ward
me to
save,
hate because
get
I
extra
really
basically.
like
So a very
Superman,
useful
right?
unit to
So
have in your game, and a very characterful model for your army.
Nice. There's also accompanying this release for the Flesh Eater Courts, the Charnel Watch. This is a new spearhead, so you can use it straight in games of Spearhead, or you can use this to bulk out, or maybe you can use this to bulk out your existing Flesh Eater Courts army. This is a fast-moving, hard-hitting, infantry-focused.
Matt Murphy,
spearhead.
welcome, brother. It's good
got
to
models
good to
that
have
you'll
you.
be very familiar with, and the way that they synergize within this game, within Spearhead, is really fun. Expect sort of lightning assault.
Hate for
and then
Gunn greater than love for Superman. Are you talking about me or are you talking about
also
yourself?
a great start to a larger Age of Sigmar
absolutely.
army for Flesh Eater Courts. It combos really nicely with the existing Flesh Eater Courts spearhead. So if you've got that already, you can add this in, and you've basically got most of an army. And it's really good stuff.
Everyone?
And a couple
Oh,
of the
geez.
cannibal monkeys in there as well, which
It's what
always
everybody
a winner.
needs, right?
Who doesn't love that?
There's another battle tome for the sort of Death faction, which is the Nighthaunt. Here we have Death Battle Tome Nighthaunt. They're a very popular, iconic faction within the Mortal Realms. They sort of had
I don't
their
know
place in
shit
the
about
second edition
Sigmar,
of
but I
Warhammer
like
Sigmar, and they've
the
really
tree
sort of
dudes.
cemented
The tree
their
army
spot
looks
as
cool to me.
Sort of beloved.
If I
This
was going to
book
get
is
into
like
Sigmar, I would
jam-packed
do the
with
tree
lore,
dudes.
that explains them all, as well as all of the war scrolls and information that you would need. I was talking to an avid Nighthaunt player about this yesterday, who was super excited because he's sort of in the know enough to know, for example, that their ward saves are improving. across the board, and so he's very excited to try those in games.
Yeah, there's some significant defensive buffs for the Nighthaunt, certainly.
Yeah, Caden, maybe.
Generally speaking, you're finding that the units have a bit more
Yeah,
health.
the tree dudes.
The way that their immunity to rend works has changed a little
Guardians
bit. So
3 is great.
normal saves
I
are a
like
little bit
Guardians
worse,
3 a
but
lot,
You can
yeah.
now bolster them with things like all-out defense, and their ward saves are across the board a 5-up or better, which is pretty solid.
Yeah, perfect. But let's get on to the model, which is brand new, coming out with this release, which is the Lord Vitriolic. This is a very disturbing creature. In life, it was something like a poisoner or a maker
snake
of
oil
like
merchant
fake potions and curatives who deceives people and sort of let them down or led them to ruin. And Nagash is able to claim his soul because of his sort of malpractice, his evil deeds, and has reformed him into this horrific Lord Vitriolic with like backward jointed arms on top of his spine.
Yeah, it looks creepy, yeah.
Horrible, but really fun in the game.
Yeah, so he's got some very fun rules. So basically, you can see his rack of potions on his back there, and the way that manifests.
Yeah, he's got a
in-game is
nice
you can
rack.
Create specialist potions and throw them at enemy units, and you've got two options on how you do that. You can either just chuck a bunch of random potions at the enemy and roll some random things to see what happens. To them,
that's kind of
or
fun.
you can concoct a very specific potion to do a specific job, and the effects of those can range from things like doing harm to the enemy unit, taking away some of their advantages, all the way through to things like stripping ward saves from enemy units. So
that one looks.
It's a really good little problem-solving unit, so you can go, right, what enemy am I facing? What I'd really like against this is this specific bonus or this specific debuff to that enemy unit, or just to do some damage. So I think we're going to see a lot of this guy in Nighthaunt armies.
Absolutely. And as with the Flesh Eater Courts, there is a new spearhead for the Nighthaunt. This is the Cursed Shackle Horde. It's just all the ghosts all the time, right?
Yeah, dude. That would be fun army, man.
Loaded with...
Bring a bunch of ghosts. That'd be cool.
Kickstart an army, reinforce an army, or play games of Spearhead.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Very cool.
And obviously a great place to start a new Nighthaunt army.
Yeah, absolutely. Those things were cool.
They're cool.
But there's a lot of people here who have been holding onto their hats really patiently, hoping that we maybe, show them something they've never, ever seen before.
That would certainly be cool.
Yeah, that would be
Why
cool.
don't we start with this?
What? Look kind of sick, dude. Minotaur looking motherfucker? What the fuck?
What an incredible reveal, Eddie! I know you're super excited.
I am very excited. This might be my new Age of Sigmar army. These are the Hellsmiths of Hashut. These are effectively the reincarnation of the Chaos Dwarf concept.
What? No way! Chaos
entirely
Dwarfs?
redesigned and brand new army, coming out first in an army set. Arriving alongside its new battle tome. The army set also serves as the spearhead force for the Hellsmiths of Hashut. These models are phenomenally cool. The rules
So
are
what
great,
I
the
keep
lore is
seeing
great.
here
I love
is all
absolutely
the
everything about
Minotaur
it.
shit.
Let's dive
You could
into
do like
the miniatures.
Minotaur
Something
Space Marine
First thing I wanna say
conversions.
is let's talk about like why they are.
Like even the
when
shields,
the time
dude,
of
for like your
chaos,
blade guard or whatever.
In the mortal realms,
That could
the
be
Dwarven,
cool.
They retreated. They survived in their holds, or they took to the skies, or whatever. But
not these guys.
But not
these
so the Zardron, the Chaos Duardin, who would become known as the Hellsmiths of Hashut. They instead turned to Hashut.
I love those
an
green
ancient
flames,
and
dude. The
terrible
painting here is
Duardin
really cool.
deity, who taught them the ways of hellsmithing.
Yeah.
So, and their whole culture is based around Hashut, the Bullfather. And we're going to see that sort of writ large across all of
really?
these models. Let's dive into the first thing that appears in this new army set. These are the Infernal Cohort with Hashutite spears. Say that fast if you can.
Cool.
They are the core unit for the Hellsmiths of Hashut. They are an elite combat unit straight off the bat. These are very dangerous to Arden indeed. And the first thing to observe is those Hashutite spears. Each of them has got like a glowing orb in it.
Yeah, true.
That contains imprisoned, ground down, reconstituted demon essence. Because that's
so,
how they roll.
so the demon legions that invaded the various Duardin holds during the Age of Chaos, some of them took over the holds, but where the Hellsmiths.
These guys go hard.
They instead trapped those demon legions and decided to
They look
weaponize
like they
them
go
into a
pretty
fuel
hard.
to power their war machines, their weapons, and their technology. So that green glow, as you say, is ground up demon juice that is powering the weapons of the Hellsmith.
It's kind of badass.
So cool. Things to talk about within this unit. Obviously, you've got like a unit champion. You see, you've got a musician. Which is like this weird combination of the bare-chested Duardin and a Hobgrot carrying a massive gong on its back, and obviously a standard bearer. It's a two-for kit.
Demon juice.
Internalism for this kit makes two different types of unit.
Oh, hell
and
yeah.
So here you have them with Hasher type blades.
I'm starting to get hungry, chat. What should I do?
People. They have different profiles within the game.
Yeah, both very useful. The spears generally are your slightly more defensive thing, so you get bonuses against enemy that's charging you, against cavalry. The swords are the slightly more offensive option, where you get bonuses
What
for
should I
fighting into
eat?
enemy infantry and taking the fight to the enemy. But
Sushi.
both effectively heavily armored elite infantry.
Yeah, absolutely so. And you can paint them in different colours. The studio team's done a lovely job. The banner in the middle just is a really interesting nod to sort of the Zardron culture, which is, that's a ziggurat in the middle of that banner, right, with the Bullfather's rune above. They live in ziggurat cities, and each one is ruled by a war despot. As if by magic, here is the war despot.
Ooh.
Oh, I thought you planned the whole thing.
This is my favourite model within this.
It's a great hat.
It might be my favourite of the Hellsmiths. It's just so good. Huge hat, great big spikes. He's carrying an enormous warglaive, which is glowing. See the runes at the top glowing with
like
this
that
sort of eldritch
warglaive.
power. The war despots, they have to rule through a mixture of sort of violence and also through just ensuring that everybody around them knows that they are the nastiest,
Atomic Game?
toughest of all
What's
of the Hellsmiths. So they are dominant figures.
Yeah, like any Duardin, they couldn't demand the loyalty of their followers unless they were able to lead from the front, basically. So they're not cowardly, but they certainly
it's for
are
Caden? Okay.
diabolical schemers, sort of thing. So they will lead their armies into battle proudly, but certainly not go for a fair fight.
And their whole reason for being as an entire culture is it's just like weaponized greed. They plunder and take from the land, and they give nothing back. If they don't want it, they destroy it. They are like cruel in the extreme, because that's how they survived the time of chaos.
Cool.
Yeah, they don't see themselves as corrupted through that. That's an
No.
interesting
There's no physical side effects at all to what they've gone through.
An interesting sub-point. They see themselves as almost the paragons of purest order, right?
Yeah.
So they've
Wow,
taken
okay, cool.
the
I like
assault
that.
of chaos, and they've ground it down and created like order from chaos. But in the mortal realms, they're paving over the natural order and putting up the monuments to Hashut and the great ziggurats that power their industry.
Yeah, absolutely. Also within this spearhead is just
This thing looks
incredible
badass,
centerpiece model, the
man.
Dominator engine.
Yeah, this is a
it's
really
another kit
cool
that
model.
Makes two things. So here you can see the immolation cannons. This is a enormous.
Oh my god, I like that
metal
one.
creation, which is animated and powered by this demon energy roiling inside it. Have a look at the sort of brazier in its belly. You can see the demonic eyes peering out as like the demonic souls within a torch.
I love the
and
flames on
give
these
it its
things.
power.
That kind of like green into purple fire is such a beautiful sort of aesthetic.
Yeah, it's
this
very
is
cool.
both an incredibly cool miniature, which I think I'm looking forward to see what painters do with this, because the
true.
heavy metal one is wonderful, but I think once this goes out into the wild and you've got
You're going to see incredible interpretation.
Yeah, 1,000 painters painted this. It's going to be amazing. I can imagine this in beautiful non-metallics. In game, this thing is an absolute juggernaut, right? So it has a 2-up save, armor save, which in Age of Sigmar is almost unheard of. It has loads of wounds. It hits really hard. The combat version can mulch entire units. The shooting version is what you want if you want to wade into the middle of an enemy army and just set the whole thing on fire. Like a lot of the stuff in the Hellsmith army, their kind of army mechanic allows you to harness a demon power on specific units, so you can bolster the power of it. And on these, it's particularly devastating.
Fantastic. And we're still not done. Also within the spearhead, you'll find this. This is the Tormentor Bombard. The Chaos Dwarfs of old, if you cast your mind back, if you're old enough like me, to the world that was, the Chaos Dwarfs were renowned for devastating artillery, particularly that lobbed things far across the battlefield.
That's okay, man.
The concept has been
Maybe that's
reimagined for
good.
the mortal realms.
Get you a little detox.
Beautiful Tormentor Bombard, raw demonic power hurled high into the air to come crashing down upon the enemy. It's deadly in the game.
Yeah, this is the war machine you use if you're being advanced on by multiple enemy units. So you can fire at a single enemy unit, and the units nearby also take damage. That's how devastating this is. Very long range. I think it shoots 30 inches, which again is very good in Age of Sigmar. I think the Hellsmiths of Hashut, between this and some of their other units, have claimed to being one of the most devastating shooting armies in the world.
Well, let's talk a bit more about that, because I think we have the Death Shrieker rocket battery.
What should I get?
Brilliant for just like blowing up the enemy's big impressive things, right?
Yeah, so this is a monster killer, right? So where your other war machine is the thing to take out blocks of enemy infantry and kind of massed formations, this is they have one big monster that I want to be dead. You can fire this at them, and this, with a fair, with decent rolls, will take out a monster in a single volley.
Yeah, you're firing essentially a demon energy imbued bolt the size of 2 Dwarden, stood sort of head to toe. Yeah, it's grim. This launch set also includes a battle tome. It also includes all of the war scroll cards that you would want to have with your collection. It's the perfect jumping on point for an all-new Hellsmith of Hashut army.
But that's not it.
But that's not it.
That's not it?
There's more.
Why don't we show you some more?
Oh my god, what the fuck? Even more? More Minotaur, motherfuckers? What the hell? That looks sick.
If the launch box wasn't awesome enough, they will be
What was that
followed shortly
dragon?
thereafter with all of those incredible models that you just saw, rounding out the force into a really substantial and impressive Warhammer Age of Sigmar army.
Yeah, immediately out of the gate, you have almost a full army offer, basically, of stuff. And we start off with one of the classic units of Warhammer returning. Bull Centaurs have been part of Warhammer for, I think, almost 35 years, something like that.
I remember being charged by these when I was like 13 or 14.
In the classic red with green bases back it was in the day. But this is a heavy cavalry unit. They are basically the experts at riding down enemy forces and crushing them under their hooves. They hit very hard. They're well armored. These are the sort of manifestation of the power of Hashut in kind of form. The Duardin here have kind of warped to be more alike to their ancient ancestor.
Sorry, I'm just ordering some wings.
You said a thing to me earlier that I thought was really
for
striking,
myself.
Hashut's whole thing is like
and the family,
the mortal realms underfoot. Right? He's the Dwarden gods sort of inherited a different realm, and he gets stuck with the realm.
So there's loads of really great lore in the new Battle Tome, and one of the things that comes out is the idea that there were the ancestor gods of the Dwarden, and Hashut was almost like one of them, right? He was like one of the pantheon, and he was given the realm of beasts, and he sort of felt that was almost like an insult, right? Like, I don't want the realm of beasts. So rather than trying to kind of be harmonious with it, he decided to just trample it flat. So all of his incarnation of beast power is in the form of trampling, in the form of kind of harnessing and subjugating nature.
Yeah, so let's look at the another sort of variation that this kit enables you to make, which are the Anointed Sentinels. These are the most devoted towards Hashut of the Hellsmiths. They guard his holy places, whatever a holy place for the Bull Father Hashut might look like. So they're much more defensive than the other Bull Centaurs, although by no means a passive unit. They're just really great at counter.
They look sick.
And when you consider how much of the force might be standing back and raining death on the enemy, very useful. In
drums or flats? I kind of like both, honestly.
Interesting nod to that Hashutite culture.
Flats are probably a bit better, though.
Yeah, I love those miniatures. They might be my favourite in the range, those particular sculpts.
They also
flats all the way.
Sort of classic imagery that we're used to from before, as does the next unit. He says, seamlessly segueing in. We'll see. So here's some variations, but we have the Infernal Razors. Now, these have got blunderbusses.
Omegon! 553, welcome.
In the beard, you might remember Chaos Dwarf
to the Nerd Avengers. Welcome back.
The absolute terror of Warhammer Fantasy 6th edition, I think.
Yeah, it was diabolical. And these are a very dangerous shooting unit in their own right. Again, they're harnessing that sort of demonic power to...
Yeah, I kind of like this whole demonic power thing. That's
gunpowder
cool.
necessary here. And the kit makes two options. So you have those and you have the flame hurlers, which I mean, they hurl flames. There's not much more explanation particularly required.
Right.
Yeah, two really powerful units. The blunderbusses, not much to choose between them, really. They both do a great job. The blunderbusses have got a little bit more range on them. The flame hurlers can fire while you're in combat, which is really handy. So even if the enemy manages to reach you, you can still sort of set them on fire. But the thing that really makes them is that through the army rule mechanic, you can power them up and power up the demonic energy inside the guns, which basically increases the rend on the guns. You can get these things up to rend 3, doing multiple damage, which is absolutely horrific. So if the enemy is like charging your your big unit of infernal razors, and you get like a decent round of shooting against it, you can
no,
wipe out
Elisa
things
does not like
heavy
range
cavalry and whole units of armored infantry.
Wings are good, but I'm
They
sorry,
are very,
overrated.
very good.
What?
Yeah. Now everything we've shown you really
Hell
is quite
nah.
elite and high value.
Get ready for the other end of
the
spectrum.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But what if you want some chaff to hurl under
look at this.
the wheels of the
Little
enemy? So to
gobos,
speak?
huh?
Good news. There is a genial relationship between the Hellsmiths of Hashut and the Hobgrots, who sort of bolster the ranks. Hobgrots are also really into doing awful things and desecrating the world, and so they exist as almost like a vassal state within the Zardron culture. In exchange for better weapons than they could like forage for themselves, they get to join the army and whack stuff.
Cool.
They fill a really interesting niche in that they are faster than the Hellsmiths and they can scout, right?
They absolutely can. So the way these guys are going to fit into your army,
scouts.
most of your force is going to be very good at shooting, but relatively slow. So you're going to be moving on to the objectives late game.
Little
these
hobgrats.
can scout, as you say, so you can kind of push them forward early in the game, grab those objectives, just
That's
get
what I'm
under
gonna
the
start calling
feet of enemy
chat.
units. They will absolutely
I'm gonna be
used
like,
for things
"Oh,
like
you bunch
trying
of
to take a charge
hobgrats."
from something so you can set all your other units up for an amazing round of shooting, or to charge them with bull centaurs or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you will absolutely want some of these in your force. We've obviously seen Hobgrots before in the kind of Cruel Boys force, but these are armoured and equipped by the Hellsmiths themselves. So they've got slightly better armour, maybe than the ones that don't
none of that sort of eldritch power in them.
The drum guy? I don't know.
They don't get to play with any of the cool demon stuff.
So let's look
This
at
guy
some of the
looks
extra
cool,
sort of heroes
holy.
that join the faction. This is the Demon Smith. They are the ones who do the
Demon
Hellsmithing,
Smith.
I suppose it's fair to say.
Hell yeah.
And you can see in this model there's some real sort of hints as to who he is. Obviously a wizard. He's got that demonic power sort of coming out of his hand. He's got his tome, looks like it's sort of etched in. I don't know what
Like
stone that is.
obsidian jade.
Yeah,
or something like
exactly.
That, isn't it? Yeah.
With like
What?
vile runes. I think his lectern is animated. In a nutshell, they
How
are.
good is that paint scheme, though?
It's
Whoever painted
Yeah,
that in
it's
the
really
heavy
good.
metal team, well done.
Yeah,
Well done,
it's,
guys.
It's just stunning. They fill a particular function because they're the ones that enable all of the sort of the hellsmithing. to
Yeah,
take
they
place.
allow the kind of army to work. In game terms, they do a particularly useful thing, as well as being a wizard, which is obviously great. They can heal your war machines as well. So if you've got any of those big infernal engines, or you've got any of your cannons that have been damaged, they can.
Yeah, this
go over
army
and
looks
put the
great.
power back into them, sort of thing.
Yeah. This
I don't
kit
have a
has another
connection to like the
option in it.
Chaos Dwarfs,
It
but like
also
if
makes a
you
Passion
used to love
Elder, which
Chaos
shows you the
Dwarfs,
anointed
you're
centaurs
probably
who are the
hyped
ones who
about this
guard
shit.
The holy sites. This is the person doing the rituals inside the holy sites. And you can see that petrification has started to happen to his skin. The older
Valor
a
Arcade,
Hellsmith gets,
AOS. Yeah,
the
a lot
more,
of Warhammer players
they
do.
start to
It's a little bit
become
like the
like
DC
stone,
Marvel
their skin
thing we
cracks,
have going
if
on
they're
over
very
here.
powerful, if they have the right magics.
What up,
Hold
what
it
up,
at bay a
Bradley?
little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
maybe.
But
What up,
demons
what
upon
up?
them. There's a couple of really interesting things. I like his staff. I'm just going to eulogize about how beautiful it is that the smoke makes it look like a beard. But you had a fascinating fact about the hammer.
Yeah, so there's lots of things that are really fun about this miniature, but if we go for hammer particularly, there's not a lot of hammers in the Hellsmiths of the Hashut, and one of the reasons is that hammers are actually seen as a slightly profane symbol to the Hellsmiths because they remind them of the other dwarven ancestors.
Ryan Johnson
It's really
trilogy
like
is cancelled. Oh
but this
no!
particular
I was
hammer
looking
is
forward to
blessed in
that.
the blood of other Duardin priests. So he would have. Like,
What are they
going
gonna
to
do with Broom Boy?
Or one of the Caradron priests or something, and then slain them in a
Yeah, I
sacrifice.
do think a
and
lot of
bless
people hate
the
it because
hammer
it
in
kind
their
of
blood.
replaced Warhammer
So
Fantasy. Yeah.
that's why he's the one with the hammer when no other
So if
Hellsmiths
you're
seem to have
a
them.
Fire Slayer player or a Caradron Overlord
Oh, they hate
player,
this guy.
like,
yeah.
pick on this guy the most, right?
The Caradrons and the Fire Slayers really do not get on with the Hellsmiths. Like there is a lot. They've got beef. Basically,
Yeah,
with
absolutely
them.
so. There's also another character we should talk about.
Look at this
is
dude.
Urak-Tar. He's the first demon smith. Back
This is
in that
fucking
ancient time
cool.
when the Hellsmiths needed to learn to survive.
Holy
he learned the
shit.
secrets of this demon smithing from Hashut.
Man,
he is
Age of Sigmar has
truly
some
ancient
great looking
and
models.
abominably powerful. You can see how that manifests his the petrification on the back, like
that's crazy,
deep
bro.
Trenches of like rock starting to
That
form out of
shit's
his
crazy,
flesh,
bro.
Horns erupting from his skull. He's mounted on an enormous infernal, my brain's just gone blank, infernal Taurus. Just centerpiece written all over him. Incredible spot within the lore.
Oh yeah, that's a centerpiece model
wonderful.
for sure.
Yeah, very, very cool miniature. It's a 2-for-1 kit as well, which is really cool.
Oh, wow,
It also
okay.
makes your Demon Smith on Infernal Taurus. There's a bunch of options
can
on
have
this kit as well,
two
which is
of these
amazing.
fucking things, dude?
I can't wait to see what painters do with this kit particularly, because it is just asking for a beautiful color scheme. You can imagine this in like beautiful non-metallics or metallics or glowing runes or kind of petrified rock or something else. But again, that kind of manifestation of Hashut.
That's a great looking model.
Never deciding to use the natural materials, right? It's always going to be industrial in some way, or made out of iron or metal or stone or something like that.
And the only wood on the base is like burnt
to cinder.
Yeah, I like the
You can imagine
base
walking through a forest
lot.
of just like that.
Yeah, should we?
It complements the model really well.
In the flesh, we've got them here in the room with us.
Yeah, show us the model.
A little lineup.
Yeah, look at this. It's looking good. Here is my personal favorite. You have the War Despot. You can see he's a very chunky looking Dwarf, and if I stick this infernal razor next to him, you get a sense of...
That's a chunky boy.
Making your life harder with the camera there, perfect. You can see like bigger in stature, more powerful. Moving along, you have the Demon Smith and the Ashen Elder. Teeny tiny little hobgrot on the end of the line.
That's you guys, chat. That's the
really quite
hobgrots.
sort of scrawny, just perfect for, subverting to your will and getting through your daily work.
Just for kind of scale purposes, that's the same size, more or less, as the hobgrots that currently exist in the Cruel Boys range, so you get an idea of the size. Much larger. We have the bull centaur there, so you can see that the
centaurs look so cool.
Through that guy. This is a fairly large.
I like his
cavalry
mace
miniature
too.
There. It's like
That's really cool.
on a scale with
I guess
some
he
of the
has
kind
two
of
of them,
I guess like agrodon sort of size. That kind of.
Yeah, he's big to say the least, but not as big as. Terrible segue. Here we go. Just
even beefier.
Dude.
Yeah.
Show the dragon next. Show the dragon.
Such a cool model. I think you can have a few of these in your army as well. There's a few
those things
options
look
for kind of heads
bad.
and things. So I certainly expect to see a few of these making their way into the army.
Let's bring in at least one of the artillery.
Yeah, let's get one of those in.
And
Right,
then we'll
so
get to the main event. So if I squeeze some of these guys
we'll run out of
of the way.
space. There's too much stuff in this release. It doesn't all fit on the table.
Yeah, too much. Where's all the custody stuff?
There we go. So you can see the two war
Very
machines.
cool.
Again, these have got like really lovely little dioramas on the back, so you've got multiple characters sort of with different roles.
This
across
would
the
be.
artillery
This is going to be a
piece,
bitch of an army to put
funneling the
together,
demonic
but
power
you're going to
into the
be
engine,
so happy to put it on the
stoking
table.
furnace and that sort of thing. A little bit like the.
But
the
holy
Votan
shit,
artillery
this
we saw
is
before.
a
These are
lot.
Just like wonderful little pieces in their own
Yeah,
right.
yeah. But let's bring in Uraktar, shall we?
Yeah, he's the big guy. Here he is.
Round this all out.
Oh my fucking
this is,
god!
He's a fairly big model.
Towers above.
Holy shit, dude!
There you go.
That is nice.
There'll be loads more pictures of this on WarhammerCommunity.com, and you can see it all in more detail. There's probably some bits and pieces of information that we left out. We need to move on.
Yeah,
you need to move on.
That was
Before
very cool. Very
Before
cool.
I do, one more thing. I'm
more.
aware that lots of people in the chat might be keen to know about Warcry and whether or not Warcry is relevant here. The Warhammer Studio team are going to publish rules for using Hellsmith of Hashut for Warcry when they release.
Yeah.
So keep your eyes peeled on the Warhammer community website. There'll be a free download that lets you try out some of the Hellsmith models in Warcry in your games.
Yeah, so not only will there be a full new army for Warhammer Age of Sigmar, they will also feature as an entire new faction in Warcry as well.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
also...
Yes, it would be nice if we segued seamlessly into the Warhammer Underworlds. So welcome to Spikewood. This is an expansion for Warhammer Underworlds.
Cool.
It's...
They probably just got somebody in their ear that was like, you need to
Spikewood.
move the
You
fuck
have
on.
a Hellsmith of Hashut warband fighting against the Kenothi. So it really is industry versus nature.
Yeah, there's a strong rivalry in the Mortal Realms between the Hellsmiths, who are all about, like, as we say, trampling nature underfoot, and the Sylvaneth, who are all about protecting nature, and the Kenothi are a particularly kind of warlike aspect of that, following the kind of absent hunter god, Kurnoth. So they will defend the wild places of the Mortal Realms.
Yeah, so here you can see the two warbands. So this is an expansion, as we say, for Emberguard.
Those look dope, dude.
And you have
I like the
Hellsmiths. You have the Kenothi.
The other
Blood
army.
of the Bull is the Hellsmiths unit. Bottom left-hand corner, you have a War Despot. Her army advancing into the
What,
spike
for
with a
real?
strategic reversal.
He
So
just
she
said he's not
regroups
gonna be
with
the
her
DCU
sort of
Batman, like,
remaining
100% he
warriors
said
in a
it?
circle, and she's waiting on reinforcements before she can raise the place to the ground. So she finds herself contesting it, obviously, against the other warband.
Yeah, and you've got some great archetypes in the mix there as well. I particularly like the Hobgrot.
He deserves a call out, doesn't he?
He does, because if you've been playing Warhammer for a very long time, you may remember hobgoblins from Warhammer Fantasy Battle, and there was a unit called Throat Cutters, I think it was, or Throat Slitters. He is basically a homage to those.
It's really lovely. Yeah, they've got their rules reflect that.
Okay,
sort of,
yeah. So
plunder, take what you want,
hang on.
decimate the landscape.
Let's mute this while they're doing this. Listen to this.
I presume you wouldn't want to release Brave and Bold. Look, we've had this conversation before, but I'm going to bring up the Batman DCU stuff. Like, again, so like obviously Brave and the Bold we know is being written, and the DCU Batman is still intended to be a different Batman than Rob. I guess my question is, like, timeline-wise, like, how does this work? Like, is there... I presume you wouldn't want to release Brave and Bold and the Batman 2 in the same calendar year. It, like, starts to get a little confusing, or no? You tell me. I mean, having two Batmen running around at the same time.
Probably not. But yeah, probably not. No.
Okay.
Probably not the same calendar year. Yeah.
Look, we've had this conversation before, but I'm going to bring up the
That's interesting. I mean, technically, like, there's still room for it to change or whatever, but that is pretty definitive.
Batman DCU
you know
stuff.
That's
Like,
kinda
again, so like obviously.
What do you guys make of that? That's kind of interesting, huh?
It's a really fair point. Yeah. 10 years ago this month, we saw the arrival of the Mortal Realms, the birth of Warhammer Age of Sigmar. And we're going to be sort of showing over the coming year a whole bunch of interesting things.
It doesn't totally deny it.
Enjoy Warhammer Age of Sigmar. You're
But
in for
it's
a good time.
more definitive than
the Hellsmith's a
in
long
the
time
past.
Ago, isn't it?
Yeah,
but then they are only movement 4. So.
Raph has respectably reminded us that there is, in fact, 5 more things to
Oh,
talk
there's
about.
more. Look at this.
5
we're
more
already getting
things?
The move along sign.
Yeah, he gave him the move along sign.
More
Yeah, dude.
boxes coming for Warhammer.
This is like you guys
Each
to me.
Box contains 4 warbands.
You
Each
guys are
box
always like
also
this. Move
synergizes
along,
with
Josh.
A particular faction. So this is the Order one, the Seekers in Shadow, and it contains 4 warbands from the Order faction, Grand Alliance, I should say. This is the Death one. These are the Reavers of Ruin, the Chaos warbands, and we've saved my favourite to last because I'm allowed to. The Gits and Goliath, the Destruction warbands.
Fair.
Each anybody who plays Warhammer Underworlds will know. Each Warhammer Underworlds warband is lovely, right? They're just characterful and they home into a different part of the Mortal Realm setting. And you get 4 in a box. It's delightful. To play with them, you would need to pick up this, which is the Warbands of Spitewood. It contains all the cards and everything that you want. So whether you fancy playing with them in Warhammer Underworlds, seamlessly integrating them with their War Scroll cards into Warhammer Age of Sigmar, or just having some different hobby experiences. There's 16 opportunities in 4 boxes.
Every one of those boxes is all killer, no filler. There is some beautiful
All killer, no
there,
filler. I like
including
it.
the crab, the Ideneth crab is back.
Perfect. Yeah. So I think we actually are at the end of the Warhammer.
We are now at the end of the Mortal Realms.
It would be a good time to check in on Question Corner and see if there are in fact any questions.
Yeah, there's loads. People are very, very excited to hear about the Hellsmiths joining Warcry. That'd be really cool.
Fantastic. We're really pleased because we want them to be able to play with them and enjoy them.
Yeah, and of course the range is stunning, so people are super pumped about that. So there's a bit of confusion about the Grand Alliance that they come from. So presumably they come from the Chaos Grand Alliance. And if so, how do they fit in with the rest of the Chaos?
Yeah, so I can take that one. So the Hellsmiths of Hashut have a slightly interesting relationship with several factions in the Mortal Realms. They are definitely in the Chaos Grand Alliance. So despite what they themselves believe, they probably are corrupted by Chaos at least a little bit.
You don't get to play with that much demon power.
No, I mean you have tusks growing out of your face and horns growing out, and
you're turning to stone.
Yeah, I mean something's gone a little bit demonic there. But they would consider themselves as kind of champions of order, but they are in the Chaos Grand Alliance. They also trade with the various forces of Chaos, so perhaps Chaos warlords and things would go to their ziggurats and be served with like weapons that they forged in exchange for bounty that is collected across the realms. They also have
I don't think you can have 2
symbiotic
Batman at the
relationship
same
with
time.
Hobgoblins,
100%. Can't do
and
it.
have traded with like the Cruel Boys and things like that. But they are Chaos Grand Alliance.
Nice.
That is interesting.
How does Hashut fit in with the Chaos Pantheon? Does he want to become one?
Really badly.
Yeah, it does not play well with others as a recurring theme, really.
So he is part of the pantheon of the Dwarven gods, right? But he feels ostracized. They understandably want to ostracize him. So the Hellsmiths kind of vilely resent the other Dwarven gods. It's a very fractious relationship, which is why there's such vitriol between them. Great questions. Thank you very much. We need to go to our next setting,
keep it moving.
Which we will do by moving to the timeline of the Horus Heresy.
So, okay.
There are a multitude of great releases coming if you play Legions Imperialis. It's
Legions
all tanks.
Imperial.
So if you're a
So many
treadhead,
tanks.
settle
So
in
many tanks.
and we'll take you on a tour. Several boxes of fantastic plastic kits that make some really interesting additions to your army. On screen now you can see the Whirlwind and Scorpius set. It's 8 of those, 4 of each. And so if you want to just rain death on the enemy, blow them out of their cover, this really is a wonderful way to do it. Built on that famous Rhino chassis, as is the Vindicator.
Let's see here. Honcho Jack says, not a fan of Pattinson being the DCU Batman. He was the weakest part of his film, in my opinion. I really want a more fantastical and comic booky version of Batman. I think that's what we're going to get, man. I think that's what we're going to get. A lot of signs pointing to that, yeah.
Typhon Heavy Siege Tank Squadron is on the way.
So this is a smaller scale game that's more like tanks and titans and shit like that. I'm pretty sure.
Just warming things up and making sure that everything goes.
Is he contributing? Like, by the time you've been shot by that siege gun, how much of a flamethrower do you really need?
I imagine he's just like baking off what's left. You know,
Maybe.
Like drive through and he's like, you're getting some and you're getting some. If you want to blow things up from further away, maybe there's a Titan squadron that offends you, then you could do a lot worse than the Cerberus Heavy Tank Destroyer Squadron.
Did I paint the tank yet? Well, I bought a pre-painted tank.
Turbo lasers. That guy's
there's a
offering
Land
fist
Raider
bump.
I still have to paint.
It's a wonderful time to be driving tanks over the enemy.
Some debate in the office as to whether it's a heavy tank destroyer or a heavy tank destroyer.
Yeah, exactly. We've had some debate.
Let us know in the chat which one you think it is.
Do you think
this is my Custodes tank right here.
Destroying heavy things?
Possibly both. Possibly.
The heaviest of all of the tanks.
Yeah, it's so cool.
So heavy.
So
it's
cool.
Super heavy.
So
is the
full. So
Mastodon
filled.
Assault transport. What if you want to just pack Space Marines into a tank, drive it across the battlefield, open your gates, and charge into an enemy stronghold, having leveled the walls? With
J. Cool. Way too early to tell. I mean, if you take the Creature Commandos thing, maybe, but
and the pilot of that is offering you a crisp fist bump.
Way
as well.
too early to tell.
Great with the other guy.
It's sort of a 30,000 equivalent of a siege tower, isn't it?
I love it.
Kind of vibe.
The design on this, we've seen this at like standard Warhammer 40,000 scale. It's beautiful. It's still beautiful at small scale. It's just little.
Yeah.
So those kits, like loads and loads of tanks, the Treadheads rejoice. All of the rules for those, in fact, all of the rules for all of the units in Legions Imperialis can be found in Liber Strategia. Essentially, a thing that combines all of the rules and puts them in one place. If you've got a copy of the core rulebook and got a copy of this, you are.
I did not watch Creature Commandos. No.
A whole bunch of other rules.
I'm hoping to find out all the stuff that was in it, though. I don't really want to watch it, but I want to find out all the stuff.
And we'll talk more about it closer to the launch. What if you really like the letters A through F and you want to mark objectives and or token effects? We're releasing a really just useful set of token markers for you to use in your games. I find these sort of things very useful for reminding me what effects are going on in the game. And then there's all the formation and data sheets you need for your Legions Imperialis games. The team responsible for this setting have really just done a cracking job of making sure that like the rules are accessible, you can get hold of them. It's really fun time. I'm very impressed.
Yeah, kind of compiles a lot of stuff together into a much more convenient way of approaching it.
I've got a good friend who's super into it, and he was asking me about like how he gets all of his rules together, and I just had to sit there quietly knowing that this was around the corner.
Wouldn't that be great if they're all in one book?
Your prayers have been answered. There's more stuff set within the Age of Darkness. We teased these in the Saturnine preview, but we have the Mark II Assault Squad. I think we showed one before, didn't we?
We did, yeah. I absolutely love these. So this is the new Mark II Assault Marines. Mark II is kind of one of the more brutal looking of the various different Space Marine armor marks, and these guys have ramped that up even further. You've got some options in this kit for a variety of different weapon options. The coolest of them is the Chain Axe, which is an optional free upgrade to the chainsword that comes normally with your Assault Marines.
Yeah, and so the kit's loaded with chain axes. It even has heavy chain axes for extra clout. Think of them as slightly slower than chain axes, but they have a more dangerous. Sorry, chain swords, but they have a more dangerous effect. Absolutely. they're a points-free alternative. So if you buy these, it's just a straight points, no points involved, just a straight kit swap. If you're dying to have that classic chainsaw loadout,
she's only sweet to me.
Swap the arms with the ones that are on the Mark 6 assault marines. Or
everybody
just,
else, she's
get them from the upgrade kit.
Crazy wolf.
But I think compliance has never looked better than it does with a chain axe.
There's some great different options in there as well. You've got a couple of heavy chain axes too, which is another upgrade you can put onto some of the models. The Sergeant's got the option for some pistols and close combat weapons. And as you can see with the Salamander on the screen there as well, you can also equip them with combat shields. So
Very
loads
cool.
of different things you can choose to mix them in with. I would imagine we're also going to see some of these converted with all the different Space Marine kits. One of the lovely things about the Horus Heresy is that so many of the kits are really interchangeable with each other, so you can take bits and heads and arms and weapons and stuff and really create it.
I really like the breastplate on these, that high gorget looks fantastic. They're just fantastic.
Super cool.
Well done them. There's more coming as well. We previewed the Journal Tactical, which is available to order right now. In fact, all of Saturnine is available to order right now.
Interesting.
There's a new Journal Tactical on the horizon. It's called the Forges of Saturn, and this is really all about Vulcan's gift to his brothers through the Saturnine project. And so it focuses very heavily on all of those suits of armor that we've seen in the Saturnine box.
Yeah, there's loads of great new options in
Cool.
this book, particularly allowing you to
Those
do
things
more
look
stuff
dope,
with your
dude.
Saturnine miniatures. So there are different, basically, things that you can do to your Saturnine miniatures using other kits, mixing kits together to create new units. So this is a really great example. This is a Saturnine command squad. And what you've got here is a unit that's taken bits from the command squad sprues and also some spare bits from someone who's built a Saturnine Praetor with his axe. You get the hammer spare. You can now give it to characters in your Saturnine command squad and basically make them into a champion. The other option that you can have inside this is to make one of your Saturnine Terminators into a Saturnine Centurion. That's the Thousand Suns guy on the far left there. Saturnine Centurion means that you could now have like 2 tiers of Saturnine Commander you can have in your army, and effectively unlocks the ability to have an entire Saturnine styled army if you wanted to.
Yeah, one of the topics that's handled inside this Journal Tactica is the way the Legions embraced Saturnine armor. Obviously, to use it at all requires you to be at least to some extent psychically sensitive. That really plays into the hands of the Thousand Suns.
Thousand Suns love it. It's their favourite.
But
Interesting.
There's all sorts of things. It's not just the Thousand Suns that sort of get the rub in this. So there'll be lots to enjoy, and we'll tell you more about it as we get closer.
Yeah, there's some really interesting stuff about how the different legions have sort of embraced it. So the Thousand Suns have sort of used it as intended to some extent and kind of put all of their psychic pilots inside them. The Word Bearers immediately crammed it full of demons just to see what would happen.
Yeah.
But all of the legions, to some extent, have recognized the lethality of Saturnine technology and find a place for it in their legions.
Perfect.
True.
Right. We're still not quite done in this sort of area of the timeline. I am super excited to be able to announce today on behalf of the Black Library that there is a new mega series on the way.
Yep.
This is the Scouring. This is book 1 called Ashes of the Imperium.
It's gonna be
and this
dope.
Kicks off a
Chris Raitt is an incredible writer.
Mega series set in the ashes of the Imperium. It's a
Yeah, this is going to be really fun.
The Horus Heresy is ended. The Emperor is mortally wounded, enshrined upon the Golden Throne. The War Master is dead. The forces of the traitor legions.
This is him like doing Codex Astartes and the successor chapters.
Begins essentially at that premise, and here we have a very understandable confrontation between a battered and damaged Rogel Dawn and Rabute Gilliman, who has arrived pristine with reinforcements, and as you can see, they're at loggerheads already. Black Library are super excited for us to be announcing this today because this is the culmination of a lot of work and effort between.
Why do they all have bulky armor? Well,
cabal of writers and creators.
The main reason is so the Space Marines are all like special forces shock troops, basically. So they're just meant to be like walking tanks of a sort, and they're meant to like break through lines or devastate certain battle formations or whatever. And also just because it's badass.
There are 3 principal themes. Theme number 1 is what happens with the Legions Astartes, right? They've essentially caused.
These guys are also like 9 or 10 feet tall.
Ruined the work of the Great Crusade. The Imperium is in tatters. What is the place for the Space Marine Legions in the wake of this catastrophe? For the traitor legions, the second of these sort of
Caleb, that's a good question, man. There's probably some people that have said which ones you can not read or whatever, but yeah.
So suddenly they thought they were onto a good thing, and now they're relatively alone and at sea. How do they survive? How do they regroup? The third group is, in my opinion, maybe the most compelling, which is what of humanity, right? They've just watched these demigods wage war across the Imperium, ruin everything, destroy the Emperor's great works. The Emperor is mortally wounded. How do they respond? How does humanity rally, and how does it perceive the place of the Space Marine legions that remain?
Absolutely, and I think worth saying as well, this is absolutely, you can treat this as a self-contained series.
Oh yeah.
If you have read all of the Horus Heresy from Horus Rising all the way through the full novel series, and then gone through the Siege of Terror, first of all, very well done. There's a lot of books to read, some great stories in there. But if you are new to the Horus Heresy and kind of the setting and the era, you can absolutely just jump in with Ashes of the Imperium and treat the Scouring as a series in its own right.
Yeah, I have to give a little bit of a shout out to Chris Wright as well, who is the author chosen.
He's incredible.
Book. He is a true gangster of words. He's written some of the really fantastic Black Library novels. If you've never read a Chris Wright book and you just want to dip your toes in ahead of trying this, I could not recommend enough of Valdor, Birth of the Imperium.
Yeah,
it sort
it's
of
incredible.
sits outside the rest of the sort of Horus Heresy experience a little bit. And it's like top tier Black Library fiction, and might be a fun way to sort of whet your appetite for more Chris Wright.
Fair.
As we approach the release of this, we're going to have a full-length interview with Chris talking about Ashes of the Imperium and all of the care and consideration that's gone into it and the narrative that unfolds. More on that on Warhammer Community as we have it.
Yeah, it's very exciting. I think
That was awesome.
Cool.
I really am super excited for it.
Yeah.
We're not done yet.
We're not even close.
We promised that we would
You
return
motherfuckers,
to
you better
the
be
grim
close.
darkness of the Dark Millennium, and we do now with 5 new Space Marine heroes for 5 of the first founding chapters.
Right, this is Vulcan Heston. So this is a model returning that has previously been in metal and resin and is now in plastic.
Let's
Vulcan
go.
Heston is a famed hero of the Salamanders chapter, and his particular mission is to scour the galaxy looking for the relics left by his Primarch, the namesake.
Now I'm
Vulcan.
starting to.
He wears some of those
now
relics
I'm getting
himself,
excited.
So he is equipped with an artificial
Now I'm getting
suit
excited.
of armor. He is carrying a handheld heavy flamer and a blade of Vulcan that crackles with magma fire and is able to slice through enemy warriors. He's also walking through flames, just in case you weren't sure he was as cool as he can be. He's just walking through the fire there as well. He is probably the most iconic Salamanders character that exists in Warhammer 40,000, and it's great to see him in plastic. He has a couple of head options. You can have helmeted or unhelmeted.
Health and safety first.
Both of them look very, very cool indeed. He is only one of the 5 new Space Marine characters.
Next up, we have a very iconic and well-known hero returning in a new incarnation. Darnath Lysander, first captain of the first company, I probably should say.
Lysander is dope
chapter. Too. He's been remade in the sort of new Terminator armor style that we saw for the first time.
The same scale as the ones in the recent Warhammer 40,000.
And he is a substantial man in that armor. He has an enormous storm shield. He's carrying that incredible looking thunder
might be
hammer.
the best storm shield in Warhammer. It's up there, isn't it?
It's right up
It's up
there,
there.
yeah. I think the Lion might argue with you, but we're talking top 3, right? Everything you'd expect from this iconic hero of the Imperial Fists chapter.
It's nice to see a helmeted option in there.
Yeah, absolutely. They're taking the...
If you don't want to paint a face, and sometimes you just want to get on the battlefield nice and fast.
Yeah, I mean, if it wasn't yellow,
there's a hammer.
Easy to paint the flesh, to be honest. He is not the only. There are 5 of them altogether. So next up, we have Canok Var, a new character for the Iron Hands chapter.
Cool.
This is the captain of the Averni clan.
That's cool, man.
The equivalent to your kind of captain of the first company. Again,
Yo, I'll be
Terminator
right back,
in the
guys.
same scale as the recent new Terminator kits. Some really lovely little features on here, really leaning into the kind of Iron Hands lore. You've got lots of nods towards his technological know-how and their kind of alliance with the Adeptus Mechanicus.
Yeah, he's got sort of servo skulls attached by data tethers, sort of conjuring information. Look at the one on the bottom right-hand corner. He looks like he's projecting a Fortress of Redemption.
Yeah, he's got like a little holograph of perhaps a building that they're planning to besiege.
And I think my favourite thing on this model is actually the power maul. Which
All right,
is
do
shaped
Dark
after a
Angels next.
tattoo bow.
Dark
It's not a
Angels,
weapon
let's
that
go.
I'm used to seeing, and it just really works on this guy. Sort of straightforward, practical, extremely brutal. Next up, and I think for many people this will be the sort of
this one's cool, guys.
The model which fires your imagination.
Oh my
the Raven
fucking
Guard
God.
have a new chapter master.
Absolutely love this guy. So the new chapter master of the Raven Guard. And you might be saying, Eddie, they already have a chapter master. What happened to Shrike? Shrike has led the Raven Guard for some years, but has decided that actually his place is better in the shadows as the captain of stealth assaults, and he has left Ethion Shan to lead the Raven Guard as their figurehead and their commander.
So
and the miniature
cool.
is
I am so fucking
phenomenal.
salty.
We
The Dark
recently had
Angels.
Logan Grimnar released.
We got a bunch of models. Dude, the space, all the new stuff is kicking ass compared to what we got. This is crazy.
Chapter master miniature.
Yeah, he's redolent in sort of the imagery of the Raven Guard chapter that you'd expect to see. There's those sort of tassels that sort of dangle from him with the sort of secret rune
base
script
is
of
so
deliverance.
badass, dude.
Look at those claws.
He's got 3 head options. Aethon Shan is a really just tremendous centerpiece model, and I think the Raven Guard fans out there are going to be delighted by.
Yeah, I'm a Dark Angels player. Yeah,
and there's one more. Subodhan
no Dark
Khan
Angels
is
love.
The first captain of the White Scars chapter, so he leads its first company on this just mighty looking grav bike. It's got a Gatling cannon mounted into the front. He's just the perfect embodiment of that White Scars hero huntsman archetype.
Yeah, it's very, very cool. There's all sorts of beautiful Chigorian details on him there. You can see the kind of pattern on the front of the jet bike is very reminiscent of some of their Heresy era designs on their dreadnoughts and things like that.
I'm telling you, all the Space Marine shit since the Dark Angel shit. I mean, the Deathwing Knights are cool, and the Inner Circle Companions are really cool too.
Sheaths and decapitated enemy heads and stuff like that.
Dude, this is wild though. Get the fuck out of here. Oh, I'm a Custodians player too. Yeah, I have 2 armies.
In an army, if you've got lots of outriders and fast-moving stuff. It's been quite a long wait for the White Star. They're carried on a bike, and it's well worth it.
It's so cool looking. What the fuck?
Really beautiful. How do I get my hands on these? You say there's some questions to answer there. There's a series of combat patrols coming out. Listen carefully, and I'll explain the one piece of nuance to this. Subodhan Khan is in the White Scars combat patrol. You see it here. It's 3 Outrider bikes, an Intercessor Assault Squad, a transport, and Subodhan Khan. He will be available separately not that long after the release of this combat patrol. He's the only one of these new heroes that comes inside a combat patrol.
Okay.
The others are available separately, but here are the combat patrols that come out with them. So you have an Imperial Fist combat patrol, just full of heavily armored Imperial Fist troops. You've got Terminators and a command group, and it just looks wonderful. Next up, Iron Hands, heavy intercessors, heavy weapons, everything you might expect from these tough, durable warriors of the Iron Hands chapter. The Raven Guard, a bit more
fast and Phobos.
Yeah, fast. That's good. I like that. That was strong. Yeah, they're going to get in amongst it much faster. Imagine Aethon Shan leading those; it'll be tremendous. But what if you just want to carry all the flames all the time?
Yeah.
Every model in this entire combat patrol has something that makes you hotter.
Either a melter gun or a flamethrower in some way, shape, or form.
I think there's some assault intercessors who maybe ruin my attempt at connecting it. But do you know what? That is a lot of flamer and or melter, and I think you can excuse us.
Some new transfers in those kits as well, Adam. I know you were a very big fan of that when we were looking through.
Hit on my secret nerd part of Warhammer. I get really excited by transfer sheets. I can't do freehand to save my life, but I can stick a decal on with the best of them. Each of these will come with its own transfer sheet, which means that you can apply all the details of the heraldry and everything. And there's loads of cool extras on those. Case in point, the Imperial Fist one has some decals that do Crimson Fists. So if you were a fan of the Crimson Fists successors, then you can fill your boots. We'll show you those ahead of time so you can sort of plan your purchases and your painting experiences as we get closer to these.
Yeah,
have a look at the models.
Yeah, I've got some of the miniatures right here. We've got some kind of classic stuff, so you can see the scale of them, and we've also got some of the new miniatures. So if we start off over here with the Raven Guard side, I brought along a assault intercessor sergeant. It's not a small model by any stretch of the imagination, but you sort of get a sense of how big the new chapter master of the Raven Guard is there. He's on a big base. He's going to be quite an intimidating character.
That White Scar captain is
probably
incredible,
not
dude.
far off the height
That's
of the Dreadnought
crazy.
at the top of his base there.
Yeah, what's interesting is you
That
may
is
have a tactical
so
rock
cool.
to sort of raise him up a little.
The Raven Guard model and the White Scar model are
that he's not that much shorter than either of the two models you just mentioned. He really is very dominating. And then Saboden Khan next to an Outrider. First of all, check out the sort of similarities between the stylings, the sort of the shape of the bike, very sort of reminiscent of the things that you see on the Outrider. But if you spin it around, check out some of the details
There are so
on the
many
back.
lovely details on this. I really like the shield. There's some sheaths, there's some extra weapons.
I hate
like,
it. I
as
hate
well
how
as
good it
having
is.
Loads of lovely detail. There's also loads of space if you want to do some like Chigorian freehand or something like that.
Absolutely.
I think that's going to be up there with the Golden Demons and things, so that where people choose.
It's
exciting
to see what people do with it. So there we are. Space Marine
Surely that's all the Space Marine we have time for.
So you say that, but there is a little bit more Space Marine on the way. This one's really exciting for me because I got to help a little bit on the team that have brought this to life. I am over the moon to present the first ever officially licensed wearable Space Marine helmet. This is the Lieutenant Titus Mark 10.
Joy Toy made this?
If you've not heard of Joy Toy, where have you been?
Wow.
Hiding. Joy Toy make beautiful
Good
action
for
figures,
them.
under license from Games Workshop. They do Warhammer 40,000 ones, and they do Warhammer Age of Sigmar ones.
I
am
tired,
Heresy
Justin.
ones, and now they have made this incredible helmet.
By the way, Justin,
it's just really something.
if you're looking for something to send to the P.O. box.
I can talk about some of its features. Inside, it's got an adjustable sort of headband, so you can change it to fit your head.
It's good timing, Justin. Good timing.
The tiniest of heads, like a small child or a grot, you should be able to make it fit. I have the most preposterous, like, potato head imaginable.
I think I'm going to say what everyone is thinking, which is just put it on.
I will. But before I do, so this is the prototype that we've been
Okay, so they'll have other ones, dude. This is sick.
And before I do, I'm going to flip a switch because we're under very bright studio lights, but inside you can
it
see
glows, dude. No fucking
a little bit.
way.
There's some really great pictures that you'll be able to see later, but I feel like a Space Marine already.
Oh,
I feel like I'm standing next to a Space Marine.
I need it.
I mean, it's never felt so good to feel like Lieutenant Titus.
Oh my God, I need it.
The lenses inside illuminate. You can buy it with this lovely display stand as well. This is the Mark 10 helmet stand. It looks like something straight out of a battle barge or a Fortress Monastery cell where a Space Marine might put his war gear when he's finished on campaign. It's your choice whether you want to get the helmet separately or with that, but I've had this in my office for quite a while and it looks really cool. When can you get your hands on it, I guess is the question.
When can I get my hands on it, Adam?
I'm glad you asked. The answer is, when this preview show is done, the pre-orders begin.
What?
So you will be able to go to warhammermerch.com and pre-order it. So, yeah, I'm just over the moon
Justin,
to see this
did you hear
in
that?
the flesh, in real world. Very, very exciting.
Justin, are you still here?
We're
bud?
still not done.
Did
with
you hear the
Warhammer
pre-order?
40,000. We need to go to Kill Team, to the Kill Team.
Justin, how much do I think it is? I'd say 70, maybe 80, maybe 100. You could see it being 100. I don't know. No, they're not going to be 500. No way. The Joy Toys are competitively priced, but they are like 40, 50. I'd say it's 100, 150 max. If they're really smart, it'll be like 80 or 90.
Amazing new box for Kill Team, a new expansion, 2 brand new Kill Teams, a new Kill
Deathwing.
Zone, some incredible miniatures. Let's take a look. This is
Damn,
Kill
that
Team
looks
2
sick.
World, and you get absolutely loads in this box.
It's just bursting with cool
This
stuff, right?
might be the best Kill Team box we've released. It's
bold
way up
claim,
there.
and I
isn't it?
struggle
It's
to
up there.
argue.
It's up there. There's some beautiful stuff in here. I mean, if we talk about the battlefield first, you've got some absolutely amazing Necron scenery, in a little bit like the Into the Dark scenery we saw
absolutely.
a little while back, and certainly allows you to play games in that same sort of style.
That
It doesn't
looks
replace it
really
necessarily,
fun,
but
dude.
allows you to play that kind of close confines, up close battles. Really thematic.
And my
You've
food just
kind of
got here. Perfect
undead
timing.
Necron crypts as the warriors wake from their eons long slumber. But the Kill Teams themselves are probably where the real excitement is. So if we start off with the Death Watch Kill Team, this is the return of
Death
the
Watch Kill Team.
original
That's
Kill Team.
cool,
The name
man.
Kill Team itself comes from the concept of Death Watch, and they have come out with an amazing new range of miniatures. There are 10 of these guys in the box. You can build them in a whole range of different ways, and there are some lovely features. Adam, have you got any favourites from the
I mean,
mix there?
for me, I'm all about the big firepower, right? So, sort of bottom right, you have a flesh
Yeah, that's
cannon,
cool.
a frag cannon. because that's the best way to greet the Xenos, right? Yeah, you can't really go wrong. I called him out as a flesh tearer because I happen to know he is. One of the things that's really striking about this set is that there's loads of different heraldic devices available.
Some quite obscure chapters as well.
Yeah, I mean, so flesh tearers are perhaps not obscure, but they're not necessarily what you might expect. For example, top center, that's a member of the Wolf Spears, which is one of the few successors to the Space Wolf chapter. You've got an Ultramarine on the right-hand side. The crossed swords on the one bottom left, I think, is probably making him a Guardian of the Covenant.
I think you might.
But,
wow, that's cool.
And as a Dark Angels collector, that's quite exciting.
We had a fun game earlier on where we tried to guess all the different chapters. You got a Red Scorpion in there as well. That you can't.
You
quite
missed
make 'em out.
what you have to buy me, Justin. You missed the perfect gift for
if you see
me.
any that are a chapter that you're interested in, shout them out in the chat. I think the top middle guy is going to get some attention because there's a lot of fans for those guys. Loads of options, loads of different specializations for your kill team to be built with. They really are the personification of pick the right weapon for the job when you start your game.
And when you play kill team, the way that this, any kill team works is that you have a roster of different warriors, and then you can choose the ones you want before your game starts. You get 10 models in this box to make your kill team. You've got loads of different options, and then you choose before each game. Your kill team in-game will be 5 of those warriors, and you can pick any 5 you want.
That's cool.
I mean, check it out.
I like that model a lot, dude.
All of the grenades just in the harness.
It's the little thing on his wrist.
Of Gravis and Phobos and Tacticus as well. So that's a Gravis, effectively a heavy intercessor archetype, but he's even more upgunned than you might expect a heavy intercessor to be, which have already got quite big guns. In game terms, the Death Watch have got all sorts of specialist Xenos killing kit, but one of their things is effectively in each turning point you can choose one of them.
Justin,
to use a special piece of
you just hate the British more than me.
A special rule
just admit it. You can't take the British.
Blast or precision or extra AP or something like that. So that a kind of quite long-standing concept of them having the ammunition to do exactly the job you need them to do makes its way into Kill Team, as well as them just being pretty good all-round.
Yeah, you got to do better, Senator.
But they're not the only thing in the kit, although you might.
Look at these things.
Thinking so. There's also the Canoptic Circle. These are the Necron guardians of this tomb complex. Essentially, their job has been to oversee the reanimation protocols of all of the Necrons that you see in these alcoves. We'll show you some more of the terrain in a bit. And so these are the sentinels that are ready to now sort of attack the interlopers.
Yeah, and they were just going about their business, waking up all the Necrons, and all of a sudden this very rude kill team of Deathwatch burst into their crypt and decided to start wrecking up the place. So they've had to mobilize against them. It is a very powerful kill team. This is the Canoptek Circle. It is led by a Geomancer, which is a type of Cryptek. That's the model you can see there. She is the leader of the warband, and she definitely kind of is the core of the force, right? So
and she's big and powerful.
She's big and powerful. Yeah, she alone can take on a Space Marine, but the other troops in her force need her to kind of be at the center to kind of coordinate the efforts. You've got a few different other models in the mix there as well. As the Geomancer, you have. Remind me of the names of these.
The larger thing on the left-hand side with the big guns on the top is the Tomb Crawler.
Yep.
Then sort of the right hand, and there's another one sort of central to the right-hand side. Then the smaller things, they are your reanimators or your warriors. So normally, day to day, they'd just be pooling around, making sure everything's safe and well. They'd be reanimating some Necrons, but you know when the Death Watch come knocking. They leap into action.
Yeah, the crawlers have got some particularly formidable weaponry, right? So like they're up against the Deathwatch kill team. So the guns on those can take out a Space Marine if they get a good solid round of firepower. They are absolutely. One of the you've got your kind of central character which does all the kind of utility stuff. Then you've got 2 really good solid gun platforms, and then you've got the rest of the force which whizzes around and does the objective taking stuff. So it's a really flexible little kill team. Also worth pointing out that the box has a bunch of Necron warriors. Yep. Why does it have a bunch of Necron warriors, you might ask? They're not in the kill team. Well, one of the other things that you get inside this box is rules for playing basically co-op missions where you both play as Deathwatch and you're up against hordes, undying hordes of Necron warriors.
Joint operations is super fun.
That's cool.
And the chance to do this as a Deathwatch kill team, sort of stalking around a Necron,
that would be fun.
Necron tomb complex is almost to a
little like Dungeons and Dragons.
Just a great other way of playing the game.
I'm going to totally jump on it. Have a look around this board, and you can see in some of those alcoves there are those reanimating Necrons and stuff.
And there's like weird portals and glyphs and all sorts of stuff.
Replete with cool imagery. There's fallen masonry. You can imagine they've been asleep for so long that seismic events, whatever, of course, needs to fall down. Plus, and/or maybe the wolf spear hitting everything with his hammer. This is going to be just peak Warhammer adventures in.
Hell yeah!
I love it.
And of course, both of these kill teams will be usable in Warhammer 40,000.
Yeah, absolutely.
There'll be a way to use your Death Watch in that game as well. And
I do like that Death Watch kit. I'm not really crazy about the Necrons. Maybe I'll split this with somebody.
All the rules you need to play these.
But then again, you kind of need to have it together. I don't know.
There you go. Let's have a look at some of these in the flesh. In particular, it'd be good to get the Geomancer in because that gives us a sense of the scale. So my favourite.
Yeah, that looks cool.
When you put the Geomancer in here, square it off. There we go.
That looks
so
cool.
There's some narrative around the events here, which is quite cool.
Always like the Necron models, man. They look really fun.
Was in fact a lady. If you haven't already tweeted.
Almost my first Arnie. Almost.
So you get a nice mix of scale from obviously the Geomancer and the Reanimators on the sides. Loads of stuff to feast on. This is going to be a very exciting time for Kill Team. I think the Death Watch are very popular with lots of fans.
I love the Death Watch.
The concept of
they're so cool.
I think wouldn't
so
be an exaggeration to say the most requested Kill Team, since the concept of Kill Team was sort of re-emerged into the consciousness.
Absolutely. Right. I think we've done it.
I think we've done it.
We're around the 90-minute mark. I did say it would be a long one, but we've shown you all of our Warhammer previews. We should go to question corner. That was a good prompt. Well done.
No,
Simon,
wait, no custody stuff. No Dark Angel stuff. What the fuck?
A few. Yeah. Do you want some rapid fire ones to get you going?
Let's see what we can do.
We're within 12.
Okay, let's go. So start off with Old World. Are the new Tomb King minis resin or plastic?
They are plastic.
Multi-part plastic kits.
Let's go with the Kill Team Tomb World. Is the new Necron terrain similar in dimension to the Gallowdark terrain?
It is similar. I don't think it's exactly the same.
Yeah, Gallowdark would be a good reference point.
So we've got Warhammer Underworlds. Will the new warbands or any of the re-released Grand Alliance warbands be receiving rules to use them in Warhammer Age of Sigmar?
I believe you can use all of them in Age of Sigmar, can't you? I don't want to. Certainly.
Well,
I'm not going to commit. There you go. Show my face as a face of non-committal.
One thing that is worth saying is that quite a lot of the new battle tomes have a place for the Warhammer Underworlds warbands as generic archetypes of that thing. So the Gloomspite Gits, for example, you've got a place for the wolves.
I think that's a more comprehensive answer.
That's
Eddie,
probably the place that you'll find them going forward.
Cool.
That's fair. The Hellsmiths are going into Warcraft. We said that already.
Yes. Yeah.
Well done
us. So
it's been a long night.
The Adepts Astartes ones we've just seen. Does Subadin Khan have a helmeted option?
He does have a helmeted option.
Ooh.
Although I think
Safety first.
any adherence to health and safety would be an absolute abomination when you're riding free in the wind.
You
like
might be riding in a vacuum, at which point you're probably allowed.
Just hold your breath.
Just.
Get on with it. Yeah.
Okay,
they've got
cool.
reinforced skulls. I'm sure they'll be fine. So where can we expect to see the lore and rules for the shiny new characters?
That is a great question.
That's a good question.
The rules will be available online.
So some of the rules.
How much is the helmet? That's the real question. Nobody asked that.
Yeah, that's true. So
So
Darnoth, Lysander.
Yeah,
covered
Vulcan
off
and
already.
Lysander are already there. The other rules will be available online.
And I'm really glad you asked about the lore because I know a thing. Phil Kelly from the Warhammer 40,000 lore team came and had a chat with me, and they've written full background for each of these characters and narrative stories, which we'll be hosting on Warhammer Community in the week leading up to the
Interesting. That's
happens.
cool.
I'm super excited because I don't know anything about Aethon Shan, and I want
Sup,
to learn
heretics?
stories. So yes, there we go.
Awesome.
Wait, is that
we've got
confirmed? 140 without base, 160 with? What?
Are some of the Wargate options that are currently no longer available to certain units ever going to be revisited?
So that's a good question. So we do know that there will be more things released in plastic across the course of this edition. With some of those plastic kits, you may see war gear options returning that have previously been available. You might also see some war gear options that have never existed before added to those units. So hopefully that answers some of the question.
Yeah, Grant. One last one was on the Scouring. How many books can we expect?
Yeah, how many books?
At least one, because it's got the number 1 on the side of it. I don't want to steal the thunder of any future sort of news from Black Library other than to announce it today. But What they have told us,
At least one. Okay, great.
One of the best conversations of my professional life ever, to sit down with the editing team from Black Library as they sort of poured the Scouring lore into my open brain, was this is a multi-book, multi-author series.
Okay,
and
cool.
So you're
That's
going to
good.
be following it for some years to come.
Grand.
There we go.
Well, there's
you go.
bazillions more questions that I couldn't possibly get to. They're scrolling past so quick. It's all I could do to find the ones I got. But yeah, thanks.
That's great. What remains, I guess, at this point in the juncture is, first of all, to thank all of you for tuning in and spending
You're welcome.
90 minutes of
I
brilliant
was
Warhammer
really
fun with
fucking
us.
mad.
I've
You
really
didn't
enjoyed myself.
announce anything for my armies.
Awesome. There's some general housekeeping to do. If you've missed anything in this and you want to know more, go to warhammercommunity.com. Read the articles that are there on the website. There's pictures. There's more information than Eddie and I would have remembered to tell you. And you can watch the videos back as well. If you are looking for more Warhammer excitement right now in your life,
hey, is that the link?
To Tacoma, where there's Warhammer.
Oh my God, it is
place,
140.
right
But that's with a shirt?
So you can hang around here, especially on the Twitch channel. I believe that is true. What else is there to say? The helmet. Go and find it on warhammermerch.com. I think we're done.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Brilliant. Right.
Hell
Thank
yeah.
you, Simon, for asking questions. Thanks to the crew here who've made it all work.
I got one
Eddie,
ordered.
It's been a pleasure.
Always a pleasure.
We can't wait to see you again next time. Take care.
Hell yeah. Oh, hell yeah. That was dope. Also, why didn't they didn't announce anything for my armies. I'm super fucking mad about it. I cannot believe that Raven Guard model, that White Scar model. Dude, what the fuck, man? The First Legion, you know? The Dark Angels? Come on. We need better models than that. So I'm not pumped about that. Other than that, though, guys, it has been a kick-ass week. Thank you for the week. We'll be back at it hopefully on Monday. I actually might take Monday off. For those of you that are here, you might find that I might take Monday off. But it's just because I have so much other stuff going on. But it's been a good week. We'll be back at it next week for sure. Fantastic Four week. It's going to be sick. I'm excited for that. I'm excited to see the movie. I think it's going to be cool. But I'm going to get on out of here, guys. Thank you so much. I am starving. No post-credit scene today, by the way, on the stream. Just so you know. All right, everybody. Much love. I'll see you later. Peace out.